Now you can hide. A line from Bronx Tale. So YouTube now has done this. They're trying to stop burner accounts. Okay? They're trying to stop the burner accounts. And now all of you, I know who you are. Now's you can't leave. Now's you can't leave. How you doing? Hit the like button. Supers go to the top. It's a sports and a football Friday. We are now officially 15 days out from the start of training camp with the Chargers. 25 days out from the start of training camp with the Eagles. I mean, we're a couple weeks out. Pro football's right around the corner here, man. Oh, and by the way, for all of you Philly fans, let's have a come to conversation here that Big Sills warned you about two things. By July 4th, you guys would be screaming for the firing of Rob Thompson. Okay? Remember when you got out to that start? I said by the All-Star break or by the 4th of July, you guys will be screaming to fire that guy. I'm still going to hold. That's one of my proclamations. That's why we're like Shohei Ohtani so far in the offseason here. We're just like knocking it out of the ballpark. By the end of the year, you'll be screaming to fire that guy. Told you this. But I do want to give you a little bit of hope. The Mets are in first by a half game, I think, in the East. Don't worry about it. By October, Met fans will be Yankee fans. Juan Soto, great. Hey, man, 1973, 1969, 1986, 2000, I get it. You know, Met fans like to wave those things around. Like, you know, you've been like a perennial superstar team when the Marlins have as many World Series wins as you. Hey, it's okay. I got it. You know, Met fans. I mean, yes, don't worry. Hey, Philly fans, I'd worry if it was Atlanta. But because it's the Mets, don't worry about it. They'll fold their tent like they always do. You know, you could say one thing about a Philly sports team like the Phillies, especially. Same old Phillies. Hey, the Mets are the Mets. Who roots for the Mets? I mean, good grief. I mean, look, Yankee fan, that's like our little tiny step cousin. When you're a Yankee fan, you kind of like, yeah, they're the Mets. They're in New York. Yeah, it's a really nice time. I know. They're really, you know, they were really good for a little bit, you know, a couple stretches here and there. I mean, they've had some great players, Seaver, Doc Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, you know, I mean, their greatest history's in the rearview mirror, though. I mean, Juan Soto, yeah, I mean, I get it, you know, $700 million and all that and whatever. So, Philly fans, don't worry. It's the Mets. You'll be all right. I mean, between the Mets and Rob Thompson, this is quite a run in the National League East. Anyway, please hit the like button. Also, Supers go to the top, as I always say. May I start the program out with hypocrisy before we get into your Eagles? By the way, today, scouting reports for Jalix Hunt and Nolan Smith and the Eagle dumpster fire year. Not me. There's a publication in Philadelphia called the Philly Voice who said the Eagles may have a dumpster fire year. I want to look at that article, and we're going to hit on that. A dumpster fire year? Wow. Not even Big Sills could write such a horrible thing about your team. Still, the only reason I watch the Flyers because my dad took me to the Spectrum when I was a kid. How freaking awesome is that? Going to the Spectrum for the original Wing Bowl and the great history that you guys had. I love the Spectrum. I've been to the Spectrum a boatload of times, and I loved actually that venue. I get it now. It's not called Wells Fargo, whatever. But I love the Spectrum. The Spectrum was one of the great home field advantages for the Six. I saw a Sixer game in there. I don't believe I ever saw I don't believe I ever saw a Flyer game in there. I did see the Wing Bowl. I've been to 2 of them in that place. And I've been to a boatload of 76er games. This was back when Bird and Dr. J and them guys, and I was a kid, we'd roll down there and we'd watch the Knicks play when they had Ewing. The East was great back then. Okay? The East was just spectacular. I mean, just great. By the way, the Spectrum used to be great for wrestling. It was one of the great wrestling places. Kyle, thanks a lot, brother. Hey, now I know who you all are. YouTube's making it easy. Hey, by the way, little change in the lineup. Xander's going to join us at 3 o'clock, and we will have Mark Farzetta on with us at 4:30 here on this Friday. So please hit the like button. We appreciate you guys always. And what an off season you guys have had here with us, and we appreciate you guys. Hey, there's New Jersey Fishing Maniac. There's my boy right there. Okay? Stills Iran. Hey, let me tell you what. That sounds like a great idea. We just have a Sileo Palooza. What are you making of it, Maniac? A Sileo Palooza. A big Sills Palooza. Man, sounds like a monster movie. Sileo Palooza. Yeah. You have dancers, of course. And by the way, we get to pick the dancers out. I think you get an idea here. How you doing? Okay. I know just a place in Philly, too. I think. We get the wings. Okay. Get the wing house to get the wings for us. What else? What else do we need? I need beer. So, hey, by the way, please, can I say this to you guys? Kyle, you may move on. Thank you, my brother. Do you have my trust? Do you trust me? Huh? Then trust Michael. How you doing? Right? Never heard of the place. And then, you got to get Cooper DeJean because he's up for any kind of beer drinking party now. This guy hasn't left the beach. I mean, seriously, this guy could try out for a new series called Cooper DeJean / Baywatch. This guy's now like the lifeguard dude on Baywatch. He's always at the beach hanging out. Yeah, I mean, Angelo would be there. Oh, my God, can you imagine Big Sills Palooza, Angelo Cataldi and me running it? Holy cow, would that be iconic? Holy cow. The fresh ones from the Oasis, not that I know. Hey, I just heard. I'm a deliverer of information. That's kind of what I am here. Cooper the Pickle. This guy's like, man, hanging out, doing the hoochie dance, hanging out with the chicks, gunning beers. Shit, this guy's quite the party animal. Holy cow, this guy's like the Joe Namath at the DBs, and he's white. Yeah. Wait a minute. How can a white corner be playing in the NFL? How can that be? Wait a minute. Cooper Flagg. Is there any coincidence? Cooper Flagg's taken number 1 overall. Cooper DeJean gets an interception in the Super Bowl, and Caitlin Clark is a white chick in the W. What is happening? Holy cow. Hey, never heard of it. I've heard of it. I just never, been to any of these places. God, I love the Spectrum. I'll tell you what, my favorite barns in the New England area growing up, dude, the Harvard Civic Center where the Whalers used to play, used to put on some dope-ass concerts. So the Stones, dude, we saw the Kinks in there when we were kids. Man, just incredible. The old Boston Garden was awesome. I've been there. The Spectrum was great. Madison Square Garden. The old Madison Square Garden was just absolutely they've upgraded it. Now, by the way, you hear James Dolan may sell the Knicks and keep the Garden. So I don't know what that idiot's going to do. What's the Cooper DeJean song play? Play that funky music, white boy. Hey, I'm gonna kind of stay away from that one there, but boy, I'll tell you, he's having a great time at the beach. Guy's 22 years old. Why shouldn't he, right? 22, you win a Super Bowl? Remember where he's from. He's from fucking Iowa. What would he know about having fun? I mean, have you been to Iowa? There's cornfield and silos and cows. When I lived out in the Midwest like that, seriously, I thought they moved me to the moon. I mean, all I remember was Pioneer corn, the tasseling. I learned what a cow pie was. I mean, a silo. What else did they have? They had pigs in a barn. I'd never seen any shit like that before, unless I went to a zoo, and I hated zoos. I hate zoos because of the shit smells. I'm not real big on circuses either. My grandparents took me to Ringling Brothers, and my aunt's watching the show. They took me to Ringling Brothers, by the way, at Madison Square Garden. I walked in, place smelled like shit. I go, I gotta go. I was a little kid. They had drove all the way down to Madison Square Garden. My wife says she'd have kicked my ass. And we did. We drove all the way down to Madison Square Garden. We got in there. It was Ringling Brothers. It smelled like shit. And I went, no way I'm staying here. It was so bad, man. In my nose, I was gagging. We had to leave. I was just a jerk of a kid. Well, I'm not that much has changed. But, I mean, I know I'm not staying. My aunt knows that story. Went all the way down to, and there I was. We were sitting there getting ready for the Ringling Brothers. No way. By the way, Ringling Brothers was founded in Connecticut, just to keep score here. Hit the like button, guys. All right, I got to start this out here. And before I get to Eagle stuff here, so you guys see Justin Tucker got suspended 10 games by the wisdom of the NFL. 10 games. What was it for? The massage? This guy's Deshaun Watson 2.0, right? So he's getting these massages and he's acting inappropriate. And so like 16 chicks have brought charges against the guy, right? All right. So there's no court case. He hasn't been charged with anything. He has not been charged with a thing. Nobody's charged him. Nothing. There's no criminal complaint. There's nothing. They have accusations. This thing hasn't even gone to court. I'm not really debating that, whether the guy's a scumbag or not. I could care less about Justin Tucker as a human being. I don't care. Why would I care? You know, that's the difference between me and a lot of I don't care about people I really don't know that much, especially when there's like inappropriate behavior. I don't care. Now, I will say this. So wait a minute. The NFL comes parachuting in, and now they're going to act like sexual misconduct matters? You're kidding, right? Are you buying this? Sexual misconduct matters to the commissioner and the owners? Since when? You gave Deshaun Watson a fucking $230 million contract that was fully guaranteed, and he had over 38 sexual misconduct charges against him. And you're trying to fucking tell me you care about conduct? Holy cow. You'll believe anything. And I'm not saying you in here do. So, Justin, the NFL comes, you know what the court is that the NFL listens to? The court of public opinion, not the courtrooms. They don't give a shit about the courtrooms. They only care about how the media and how the public, how they act to things. That is the biggest courtroom, actually, in a lot of things we do today. I mean, it's ridiculous. I started, listen, not at the crime, but I started laughing at the league. The league is trying to tell me that they care about player character by giving this guy a 10-game suspension. And I'm supposed to bite that after what you did by giving Watson a $230 million fully guaranteed contract. You gave the guy a raise for acting like an asshole. Great. Okay. How can you be so hypocritical? Well, it's the NFL. Welcome to the real world. Oh, my God. And you see, what you have is you have people going, you see, the NFL acted appropriately. You're like, no, they didn't. You're trying to tell me you think Justin Tucker is considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest kicker in NFL history. Are you under some suspicion that the league is not going to somehow try to massage that reputation to get that guy back in the game? Somehow? What are you, nuts? Come on, man. The Justin Tucker thing is hilarious. And the idea that people would buy that. Well, yeah, the league, they came in and they were without a doubt, making sure that the integrity of the league, because of character and the players, is pivotal. No, it ain't. They don't give a shit about that. Allegedly usually means you don't know if it happened. It's like prospect. You don't know if they're good. How many times during this offseason have you guys used the word prospect or potential? I mean, if you listen to any show in Philadelphia, all they talk about is the potential of the defense. You should fill that line in with this. I really don't know what the Eagle defense is. Potential means unknown. Yet somehow you've carved that into thinking, well, it's a good thing. Who said potential's a good thing if you don't fulfill it? Okay? Potential. Really? Every time I hear that word, hey, listen, Jalix Hunt and these guys have great potential. That's not a positive thing to me. That means there's so many things that could derail that player's. I mean, Carson Wentz, how many people believe Carson Wentz had great potential to be a superstar player in the NFL? Carson Wentz, by the way, was a superstar player for about, 3.5 years? Fair enough to say? And the rest of his career has been, below water. Is that fair? Carson Wentz was probably 3.5 years of great football? That sound right? Right? 3.5. The rest of those years have been, I don't know, completely sub. I don't think his year in Indianapolis was awful at all. As a matter of fact, they haven't had a quarterback since Carson Wentz. Try this one. Okay? Has the Indianapolis Colts, since Carson Wentz, had a better quarterback? Have they? Have they had a better quarterback in Indianapolis since Carson Wentz? Tell me. They haven't. They haven't had a better quarterback. Guy threw 3,800 yards, had 26-7 touchdowns, 9 picks. They haven't had a better quarterback since him. Took him to the playoffs. Guy played great ball for them. Gardner Minshew. Yeah, okay. Right. All right. Yeah. Wentz played well there. And for whatever reason, Jim Irsay didn't like the kid. Well, I thought he played great there. I mean, right? Hit the like button, guys. Yeah, so this let me close it up here with Justin Tucker. Got to be kidding me. Don't ever buy that stuff. Always look at the NFL when they suspend somebody. The NFL suspended Justin Tucker, and they gave the guy in Cleveland a $230 million guaranteed contract for the same shit. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I guess it's because he's a kicker. Twiz, how you doing, brother? Appreciate you coming aboard. All right. I love doing this. This is one of my favorite kind of topics here because I get to use other people and their content. And it's stuff that I've been saying. So there's this publication in Philly called the Philly Voice. Let me get this. Let me pull this up here. Let me go over here. The Philly Voice. Very simple. Everybody can follow along with me here. Philly Voice. Let's go here. Eagles. There we go. Here we go. Right here. And here's the headline. And is it today? It's today. 10 reasons the Eagles will be a dumpster fire this season. How many people believe? Because every time you tune on any show except mine, because we're the voice of reason here, and we're the voice of reason here. And I will tell you, I mean, you tune on WIP or the Fanatic, or you read in the everything, and everyone's going to have a great year. If you ask, what dude do you think is not going to have a good year this year? What guy do you think is going to be a little suspect? No one will answer that. No, nobody will answer that because they think everyone's going to hit grand slams like they did a year ago. And by the way, I can't think of one guy on that defense a year ago that didn't have a career year. Did Josh Sweat? Yeah, because it resulted in a $20 million a year contract. Did Milton? Of course he did. Did Carter? Yes. Did Davis? Yes. Did Bond? For sure. Did N'Kobe? Yes. Did Slay? Slay was Slay. Did Q? Yes. Did Reed? Shit, Reed, you're talking about paying him $15 million. Okay? That's what you're talking about. Gardner Johnson. Another great year. Everybody. Becton, career year. Barkley, career year. I mean, there's so many players. The entire O-line, career year. Right? All right. So here is the Philly Voice. 10 reasons the Eagles will have a dumpster fire season. This is fucking number one. The Eagles put a lot of mileage on Barkley in 24, including the playoffs. Saquon Barkley got an astounding 482 touches in 2024. It's the third highest number in a single season since 2000. There have been 17 players who have been 430 or more touches in a single season during that span. Here are those players. Get this. So DeMarco Murray, 497 carries. Yards per carry, 4.7. The following year, 3.6. So hang on here. Let's see what the history is going to tell us here about Saquon Barkley coming up in 2025. Eddie George, 3.7 yards per carry. He had in 2,488 carries. Next year, 3.0. Okay, so he's down. 2006, Larry Johnson, 475, the former Chiefs running back. 4.3 the following year, 3.5. Ahman Green, Green Bay Packers, 2003, 461 carries, 5.3 following year, 4.5. Arian Foster, 460. Jesus criminy. How many carries a year ago? Barkley had 482 carries. Holy cow, it's the third highest number since 2000. How many guys on this list, I'm not going to read them all, went up? One, Arian Foster in 2012 had 4.1. Following year went 4.5. LaDainian Tomlinson went 4.5 to 5.3, 2. And Edgerrin James in 2003 went from 4.1 to 4.6. So since 2000, only 3 players with 430 or more touches have come back to have a better season carrying the football. And Barkley's had the third most touches. What do you make of that? Are you concerned about his touches? Seems to me that history's not on his side. Now, my question would circle back and say, how many teams had an O-line like the Eagles? And I would say, let me look at this list. Edgerrin James, that Colts line was good, but not quite. Tomlinson, that line was good, but not as good. Edgerrin again. And Ricky Williams, that Dolphin line, that's Dolphin number 2002. Nobody on this list has had the old line the Eagles have had. So that's in his favor. Okay? That's a lot of touches. Wow. So I think there's something to this first one. Here. This will be a storyline. Will the amount of touches that Saquon Barkley had with an often injured ball player, do we not? Is that a fair statement I just said? With an often injured in the last 6 years, he's been injured 4 times. And a guy carrying the ball 482 times. Would you say that, again, that's a storyline? Will the amount of carries take its toll on him? Hey, he says he feels great. I don't know. I'm not predicting anything. I'm just asking the question here. Okay? I am not predicting anything. I actually think he's going to have a good football season. You know, when people say he's going to go for 1,500 yards coming off a 2,000-yard rushing season, I don't think that's a bad year at all. Okay? Once again, I am not predicting one thing here with that. But he's often injured. Last year, he was sensationally healthy. He really was. And I think it has a lot to do with that old line. So I would say this. That's a story. So I think they got this one right. I'm not saying he's not going to be effective, but it's something to keep an eye on when you look at the amount of carries. Only 3 guys with over 430 carries in one season. And then the following year, only 3 dudes in the last 25 years have had better rushing seasons. That's quite a bit of guys. Why are we to believe that? Because the Eagles have the greatest O-line since 2000? Dude, that's a great comment. Do the Eagles have the greatest O-line since 2000? I would say yes. I would say yes. I can't think of another O-line that's better than yours since 2000. The Bucks, no. Rams, no. Chiefs, no. You know what? The Patriot O-lines, one of them O-lines is pretty good, but better than Philly's O-line? No way. No way. So I think the X factor is your O-line. All right, so let's go to the next one. 2010 Steelers were good. So they got the first one right. I'm going to say 1. Barkley's carries. Okay, let's go to the second one. They put a lot of mileage on Jalen Carter. Man, I didn't know this. There's a pretty good column here. Jalen Carter played the second most snaps in the NFL among interior defensive linemen last season with 1,027. Only Zach Allen had more snaps a year ago than Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter had counting the playoffs, Jalen Carter had 1,027 snaps. Jesus, I hope that's counting the playoffs as well. So let's read this here. There's a 100+ snap difference between Carter and the next guy on this list. Kobe Turner, the Ram D tackle, had 919. There were concerns about Carter's conditioning heading into 24. There was, but he put those to bed. However, the new concern is that the overuse could compromise his effectiveness. Carter saved the Eagles season with a sack on Matthew Stafford at the end of the divisional round game against the Rams. And in the Super Bowl, he was often doubled by the Chiefs with two of the best O-linemen, which allowed the other pass rushers to eat up the Chiefs' offensive line. All of that is true. Jordan Davis, huge athletic specimen, but can't play more than 2 or 3 snaps without huffing and puffing. This is these guys writing this. Ty Robinson was taken in the 4th round, and Moro Jomo, promising young player, but only 1 sack in his career. I didn't realize that. Their depth in the interior is shaky, and their edge rushers were dependent on Carter's presence. This is a big one here. I didn't realize. How many people realize that he almost played 1,030 snaps? Holy cow. Now, this is numbers from the Philly Voice here. So you're talking 1,027. So let me ask you this. With new players on the D-line, you think that number goes up or down? That is a load of snaps for a DT. It's one thing to have it on the edge. It's another thing internal. Why? Because you're constantly taking on double teams. That is a lot. I think you're not pulling that guy out. Your entire defense is built around him. You're going to pay him $40 million. Boy, other players around him, Jordan Davis has to be a better ball player. If you're going to have a player that is going to help Jalen Carter, you have got to get more from Jordan Davis. He's got to play better. I think this article got it right again. Number 2, 1,027 reps. I'm assuming that's counting the playoffs, because I don't think that's just regular season. Only Zach Allen had more with 1,031, according to this publication. Okay? So did they get that right? Look, I thought he played great from week 1. Well, I didn't think he played great in the Tampa game. I thought he was a bum in the Tampa game. He got knocked off the ball and didn't want to play because it was too fucking hot. Okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about reps. I'm talking about the amount of plays he's playing. I'm not talking about Moro Jomo. He's going to have to play 800 snaps this year. Okay? Who would want to take Carter off the field? Not me. But you got to get more production from Jordan Davis. Okay? You got to get more production. That's an awful lot of reps. So let's go to the next one. They got that one right. I think that's a concern. Here's number 3. You tell me if they got this one right. They lost a lot of starters. The Eagles lost 5 starters, 1 starter on offense, and a handful of other key contributors this offseason. D-line, Milton Williams, 629 snaps. Josh Sweat, 775. Wow. Darius Slay, almost 900 snaps with 898. Mekhi Becton, 1,164 snaps playing right guard. Gardner Johnson had 1,119 snaps. So look at this. 119 and Sweat is 775. That's 1894. And then Milton 624, 629. That's 2,500 snaps between Gardner Johnson, Slay. I haven't even put Slay's on there. 629, 775. That's 10. That's 14. That's 898. That's 2,300. And then Gardner Johnson's 1,119. That's 2,304 and 1,119. That's 2,4. That's 3,200, 3,400 snaps. Orrin Burks, 322. That's 3,745. Isaiah Rodgers, 412. That's 4,167 on defense alone that are being taken off your football team. Over 4,100 snaps with guys who've never played or have never started. Holy shit, is that a lot? I mean, am I wrong? I mean, how do you feel about that? Let's see what they say about it. This is like I'm using a Philly voice here. I saw this article. I didn't even look at it. I was like, interesting. I like the headline. If we're all good players for the Eagles in 2024, and the above chart doesn't even include Nakobe Dean, who tore a pectoral tendon in the playoffs, and who Vic said won't be returning to the field anytime soon, Ajoma will have to replace Williams, guys like Jalix Hunt, Azeez Ojulari, Joshua Uche will have to replace Sweat and Graham. Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson will have to replace Slay and Rodgers, and Tyler Steen or some other lineman will have to replace Becton, Sidney Brown, and Andrew Makuba, who will have to replace C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Jeremiah Trotter will have to replace Dean, forever how long Dean is out. There's a lot of question marks, so some will pan out, some won't, or will at least be downgrades. That's a fair comment. Not every one of these guys that you're replacing them with is going to pan out. You're assuming that. That is a freaking boatload of snaps. Listen to these guys. Isaiah was a role player and had almost 500 snaps. Burt started in the postseason and played mostly in the postseason, but he came in at 322. Brandon Graham had 311. These numbers right here, though, with Gardner, I didn't realize Gardner Johnson had played one. So wait a minute. Let me go over here and ask you guys. Gardner Johnson played 1,100 plus snaps. How many people in here believe Andrew Makuba will replace him? How many people believe that? That Andrew Makuba will replace 1,100 snaps for a rookie? That's insane to think he's going to play that many snaps. And Ringo, he's going to play 900 snaps at corner? C.J. Gardner-Johnson was on the number 1 defense and had the most turnovers on the defense. He did make the defense. He was part of it. Okay? Call you crazy? Sure. Okay? Okay, senor. You're right. Andrew Makuba is going to replace, remember this, folks. Let's write this down. Senor says that Andrew Makuba will replace CJ and his 1,119 snaps in 2025. Remember, he said that. Do I believe that? Absolutely not. Or Sidney Brown. Remember, folks, what I said. He thinks that Sidney Brown and Makuba are going to play 1,119 snaps and be as effective. That's all I'm saying. I'm going by the article here. We're now taking receipts from some of you. Let me ask you this one. How many people believe that Jalix Hunt's going to play 775 snaps this year and be as effective as Sweat? How many folks believe that? Jalix Hunt is going to play nearly 800 snaps. Is it right? 775. Jalix Hunt. He's going to play 775 snaps and give you the same effect that Josh did. I don't know. I can't say today. Right? I think they got number 3 right. Let's go to 4. Now, again, it's the Philly voice. Like I said, I was just looking for content and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is an interesting headline here. 10 reasons the Eagles will be a dumpster fire this season. The amount of carries, only 3 players since 2000, with players over 430 more carries, had a better year coming back in 25 years. Now, once again, I don't think those players had the old line that Saquon does. I do not believe that. That's an advantage for Saquon. I didn't realize, counting the playoffs, that Jalen Carter had played 1,027 snaps. Man, that's a lot of football. And their headline is, they also put a lot of mileage on Carter. Now, Carter's 22 years old. I mean, come on here. I mean, Barkley's been injured a lot. They lost a lot of starters with a lot of, get this. You could say whatever you want about the amount of, or who you think is good. Bottom line is this. Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, Gardner-Johnson, Oren Burks, and Isaiah Rodgers were part of the number 1 ranked defense in pro football, and a defense that stuffed the Kansas City Chiefs for 3.5 quarters. I don't give a shit what you say. Those guys right there were part of the number 1 defense in pro football. You can fantasize and you can have your circle jerks and talk about how you think this group is going to be as good as that group. Well, they've got it. They've got the title. Those guys that were on that team, they got the title. You're talking about a fantasy title right now until these guys have that ring in their hand and have that distinction on being the number one defense. At the end of the day, guys, that ain't the truth. And I don't know. They may be better. They may be better. I think they got that one right. Again, just a concern. Here's the next one. They have a hard schedule. Here are the Eagles' 2025 opponents with their 200 or 2024 records and point differentials. Cowboys were 7-10. The next team was 15-2, the Chiefs. The next team was the Rams at 10-7. The next team is the Bucks at 10-7. The Broncos are next at 10-7. They get another break. Here, get this. All the way until week 18. 1, 2, 3. The Eagles will play only 3 teams that had under 500 record and under 10 wins. That's a pretty tough start to the season. That's a pretty good looking start there. I'll say it again. 3 teams were under 500 in the first 8 weeks of the year you'll play. The rest of them are 10 wins or more. The other 7, okay, coming out of the bye. Look at this number to finish the season. After the bye, from week 10 until 18, 1, 2, 3. And here are the records from the teams a year previous. Packers 11-6. Lions 15-2. Chargers 11-6. Commanders 12-5. Bills 13-4. And the Commanders again at 12-5. 1, 2, 3 teams were under 500. And not one team was under 11 wins going into the following year. Now, it's always hard to talk about. Hey, Xander, I missed that Kyle super chat. Sorry, Kyle, I was looking at the schedule there. I appreciate you very much. Thank you, man. And guys, thank you very much for the super chats. Please do me a favor, hit the like button here. So, Sills, would you say Fangio is building the defense around Carter the same way Jim Johnson built the defenses around Dawkins? Yeah, anytime you got a superstar player like that, you're going to do that. Absolutely. You're going to build it around. Of course you're going to build. Dude, Kyle, in the NFL, when you pay the guy the most money, and you're going to pay him $35 to $37 million, Jalen Carter, you're going to build your defense around him. Of course you're going to build it around him. So the schedule is clearly a factor. So they got 4 right. How many losing teams are you actually playing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of your 18 games, okay? Of your 18 games, let me count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're playing 6 teams that were under 500. I mean, get this here. Here's Senor. Sounds like a great schedule to prove why you're the best in the NFL. Sure. And once again, I will tell you that that's a flawed thinking process. Because when you're playing against great teams every week, you're not a college football team. You don't have 100 guys. Why do you think hey, folks, do you think Tom Brady benefited from playing in a shitty AFC East in his 20 years in New England? Yes or no? or that Montana benefited for 15 years playing in a shitty NFC West? You think you benefit from that? Or do you think you're hurt from that? What do you think? When you play a schedule where you've got a cake division, okay? Some BS headlines dry off season topics. Not sure what that means. Oh, yeah, you're right, Sills. I wish the Eagles had pose, weak-ass schedule to make it to the playoffs. So that any bumps or bro, I asked you a question. Just answer it. Do you think that Tom Brady benefited from playing in a shitty AFC East? Yes or no? You sound like a guy that sits on the fucking congressional hearings and can't answer a simple question. Do you think Tom Brady, for 20 years, benefited from playing in a shitty AFC East? Yes or no? Tom Brady, in his 20 years up there, I think he lost the division once. Once. That was to the Dolphins, and I think it was 11, maybe 14. Okay? Look, this guy wants a filibuster. Do you think Tom Brady benefited from playing in the AFC East for 20 years in a shitty division? Yes or no? I don't give a fuck about Josh Allen. Answer the question. Bro, I don't care about your yes or no. Did Tom Brady benefit from playing in the AFC East? Yes or no? Thank you. That's it right there. That's it right there. Okay? It's about the war of attrition. Name me a team a year ago in the regular season you guys thought was a really tough team that you played. Name me a team. Name me a team. The Rams? Okay? Rams. Ravens? Okay? I never thought the Steelers were a tough team. I thought they were a tough defense. Washington? Fair enough. Got all the way to the NFC title game. So I got Rams, Ravens, and Washington. Who else? The Bucks? Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Packers? No way. Absolutely not. Packers are posers. Who else? I got Rams, Ravens, Washington, and Bucks. Who else? Bengals? Absolutely not. Cowboys? Absolutely not. Carolina had 4 wins. You just sucked against them. Give me another team. You played 4 tough teams last year. Did you not? Give me another one. The Steelers were sorry on offense. They were good on defense. They weren't a good team. Give me another one. And by the way, I don't think that you could take what a team did a year ago and translate that over, because even the Eagles have lost players. The Browns, another 4-win. Look at Leon. How many wins did the Browns have a year ago? 4? They picked second. I'm talking about a good team all around. Rams, Ravens, Washington, Bucks. Give me another one. Give me another one. You make it sound like you played tough teams last year in the regular season. You didn't. This year, you're going to play teams back to back, and it's going to be a tougher run. Okay? Atlanta, Atlanta was underwater too. You're making it sound like you had a whole schedule of great football teams. And do you think not playing great football teams, Senor, do you think that helped your health? Yes or no? By the way, when you had a tougher schedule in 23, you fell apart at the end of the year. Did you not? Because all those games that you were playing in the middle part of the season, remember, Bills, Niners, Cowboys, they all started. And by the time you got to Seattle, and by the time you got to the Buck playoff game, you got destroyed. Right? So there were 4 complete teams you probably played a year ago. Rams, Ravens, Washington, and the Bucks. Totally. And then when you got to the Super Bowl, you played a Chiefs team. Dude, what I'm saying to you is the schedule will be a factor. The schedule was a factor in 23. And with new faces. By the way, I'm not saying all these things are going to be true. I'm saying I'm looking at their article right now, and I think they bring great points up. That's all this is. Again, folks, it's an exercise. I'll get your panties in a bind. I know some of you get a little freaked out here. What the F does 23 have to do with 25? Okay, I'll tell you exactly one more time. When you went from 22, follow along here, Leon. I know this will be a little difficult for you too. In 22, you went to the Super Bowl. The following year, you played a top-ranked schedule. You had really good teams on that. You fell apart in 23, okay? You didn't quite have the schedule that you're going to have this year. In 24, it's the same process. Now you're going to play a top-flight schedule this year like you played in 23. Did you follow along, or was that too difficult? I get it. Probably too difficult. Common sense. Try using it. Again, it's free. Okay? It's free. Common sense. When you win the Super Bowl, you get a top schedule. Okay? I know it's okay. It's more difficult than, get this. It made no sense. Folks, when you go to a Super Bowl, the next year you play the number 1 schedule or top 3 schedule. Do you not? Right? When you don't win the division, which you didn't, you play a lesser schedule in 24. Did you? You didn't win the division in 23. You play a lesser schedule. Now, because you won the Super Bowl, you're playing a top schedule and you won your division. How is that hard to follow along? Dude, that's how the league has worked for 70 years. How are you not making sense? Bro, then you don't know then you don't know how the NFL works and how their schedule works. You're a dick, Leon. Oh my God. Leon, you're a jerk. On a Friday, way to lighten it up, kid. You're my boy, man. We're good. Leon, we're good, man. Fucking with Big Sills seems to be a habit around here now. Hey, wait a minute. So you're torching me up, Leon? All right. Son of a B. Good God. I'm starting to sound like Johnny Mac now. How you doing? All right. You got me, Leon. You son of a B. Hey, Leon, unlike Senor, take a lap. You get the victory lap. Go ahead, man. Had the cells. All right. Hey, Leon, take a victory lap, kid. Okay, go ahead. Anyway, Jesus criminy. You got me good on that one. Still some fucking with you. Oh, my God. Busting Big Cell's balls. Like no group can. Nobody does that except the folks here at JAKIB and the folks around the Philly area and who watches the show. with all that being said, holy shit, is this a good content? Look at this thing here. I don't even know who the frig these people are. This Philly. I'm going to start calling this thing the Philly No Voice because I've never heard of them. But hey, all right. I'm sure there's quality people here. I don't know them from a can of paint. Let me guess. Harry Mays works here. I don't know. Anyway, with all that being said, the man who runs Birds 365 with Big Johnny Mac comes up with great content. Without a doubt, one of the best family men around, our good friend, Big Zy. Standard crowd.
What's up, Big Sills? How you doing, brother?
These guys are busting my balls here, man. I do love Philly. Abe, my favorite city I've ever talked sports in.
They're not busting your balls, are they?
Oh, really?
Well, you bust their balls, they bust the little balls back. Welcome to the city of brotherly love.
I get it, Junior. Holy shit here, man. All right. So, Xander, I'm going to play a little game with your hair towel. All right? Buckle up, Junior. Now, look. Let me do this again, folks. Watch me. I got my hands up. This ain't Big Sills list. I didn't put this.
Here you go again.
I didn't do this.
Guilty by association.
I don't know what the fuck's going. I didn't do this here. All right. So let's go down this list here. It's pretty good. Actually, it's really good questions. Number one, and I love the headline in a way. I mean, I won't lie. This is what attracted me to it. I didn't even know who these folks are. 10 reasons the Eagles will have a dumpster fire.
Yeah, he does it for every team. It's Jimmy. Yeah, he does it for every team.
Hey, but by the way, let me say this to you. Are you shocked that would attract me?
No. Why would I be shocked at that?
All right. So, look, there's Nick Sirianni's face there. Holy cow, there he is. Johnny Cheerleader. All right, here we go. Here's number one. The Eagles put a lot of mileage on Saquon Barkley. I didn't realize this, Xander. Check it out. Including the playoffs, Barkley got an astounding 482 touches in 24. That was the third highest number of touches since 2020. There have been 17 players who've had north of 430 touches in a single season during that span. And here are those players. Only 3 players in 25 years have had better seasons following over 430 or more carries. Now, I think the asterisk and the caveat is this. I don't think any one of these players have ever had the O-line that the Eagles have had. And I will say this, that the Eagles O-line is the best O-line since 2000. There's no doubt, okay? But what do you make of that? I mean, is he right with this concern here with the amount of carries? This guy's often injured in his last 5 years. He's been injured 4 times. I mean, do you get concerned with that?
Well, those stats certainly tell a story, but those stats don't account for Saquon Barkley.
I don't think those are stats. Those are that's actual productions. Those are production numbers.
Well, they're stats.
Okay, well, if I hand you the ball 480 times in a game, you call that a stat. I call that workload.
Yeah, but you're talking about yards per carry. That's a stat.
I'm talking about north of 430 carries.
And the yards per carry went down.
And they're right. Their production went down.
Right. Yards per carry is a stat. But all right, it's fine. We're splitting hairs. Saquon Barkley is a rare breed, though. There are certain people.
In Philly, he's a rare breed. He wasn't in New York.
No, he's a rare breed at the NFL level.
He wasn't in New York.
Well, no running back can play without an offensive line. I mean,
I got it, but that's a part of his story, though, too, Xander.
I didn't say it wasn't part of his story. You know what else is part of his story? The Eagles' offensive line now. And that's a part of the story.
In Philly, he has been, correct. But in his history, he hasn't been. He just, that's what it is. I mean,
Saquon Barkley is uncommon.
In Philly?
Sure.
Okay, right. And prior to that, his years in New York cost him years because of injuries. Okay.
Well,
now you're going to be adding. Are you going to add less than 430 carries, or are you going to go over that number this year?
I think under. I think you go under a little bit this year. I don't think they need to run him as much as they did last year. But I don't think it comes down much. I mean, if you're including the 4 playoff games, you're probably looking at 400, 350 to 400.
I'm telling you, you're right on one thing. Why the fuck do you got A.J. Brown? I mean, get that fucker more. Again, he's got to be healthy. I understood last year. Now, let me ask you this. If AJ was healthy, do you think Barkley has 482?
Healthy from the start?
Yeah, healthy all year. Say he's
maybe,
healthy.
I mean, maybe not because, when AJ was out, that's when the passing game struggled. And when the passing game struggled, that's when they realized they wanted to run the ball a lot. So it's hard to say that because maybe if AJ's there every game, maybe the passing game doesn't struggle as much. Maybe they never switch to the run. Maybe it's a more balanced approach all throughout the year. I mean, it's tough to kind of make that scenario happen because of all the variables. But maybe, I mean, look, you do have AJ Brown, but AJ got 1,100 last year, missing 4 games. Like, I wanted him to get the ball more, but I can live with that. I mean, if he plays those 4 games and he gets 70 yards a game, he's up to 1,300, 1,350. I mean, I can't complain too much about that.
See, I don't mind if the yardage comes down. I don't want the yards per carry to come down.
Right.
Okay? That to me, because then he's still as productive as he was a year ago, Xander, right? I mean,
yeah, and I think the list that you're reading from showed all the running backs who went down in yards per carry, which is most of them.
Well, it's the guys who had 430 or more carries.
Yeah, but of that list of guys who went 430 or more carries, only 3 of them you said went up in yards per carry, right?
No, only 3 of them. Okay, yes, only 3 of them went up in yards per carry. Yes.
All the other ones went down or stayed.
All the other ones went down. And some of them not too bad. I mean, there's some of them here that went from 4.1 to 4.5. I don't know. I mean, that's not horrific. I mean, if you're telling me a guy goes from 4.6 to 4.5.
4.4 to 4.2, 4.7 to 4.5.
Yeah, you're in the room still. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree.
Okay, here's another one. So, I mean, I would think that, that's something to watch this year. I didn't know this about Jalen Carter. Now, this has to be the postseason. They also put a lot of mileage on Jalen Carter.
Yeah, they do.
Jalen Carter had 1,027 snaps. Only Zach Allen of the Broncos had 1,031. And Kobe Turner of the Rams was the 3rd guy. And he had 100 snaps less at 919. I mean, dude, you've got to get more production out of Jordan Davis. I mean, Jalen Carter had almost 1,030 snaps last year, counting the postseason. Are you putting too much on him with new dudes around him?
I mean, he was 23 last year. I mean, it's a lot, don't get me wrong, but it's not to the point where I'm like, uh-oh, I mean, look, when you're 20, 26, 27, 28, 29, yeah, you're going to start to scale back. He's not going to play 95 or 98 or whatever the percentage of snaps was, but I'm not worried about last year. I think it worked out last year. He's obviously an unbelievable football player. And the most remarkable part about it was he played his best football in the playoffs. I mean, it's unbelievable what the guy did in the playoffs, considering how many snaps he played. So I'm not worried about that. I mean, I hear him. I don't think it's something you can do forever. But right now, yeah. I mean, you got Jalen Carter, at this age, playing like this. I'm keeping him on the football field too.
Don't you think, though, with a lot of new faces, you're going to see less or more double teams?
On Jalen?
Yeah.
More, probably.
You're going to get more double teams on him.
Which means Jordan Davis, Moro Jomo, Nolan, J-Lux, they all got to capitalize on their man because they're going to have
guys you signed.
Yep. They're going to have one-on-one. Remember, Milton thrived against one-on-one last year. You got to thrive on one-on-ones.
I wrote this number down here because we added this up here. And check this out. You're losing over 4,167 snaps on defense between Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, Darius Slay, Gardner Johnson, Oren Burks, and Isaiah Rodgers. Milton had 629. Sweat had 775. Slay had almost 900, 898. Bro, I can't believe CJ played this amount of games. 1,119 snaps.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Brandon Graham had 311. Burks had 322. And Isaiah Rodgers had 412. That comes out to 4,167 snaps. And in total, if you put Also, Mekhi Becton out there with his snaps of 1,164. You now off that football team have lost 5,660 snaps, and especially on defense, Xander, those 4,167 snaps were on the number one defensive football team in pro football. So you think you're getting, let's do this here. Milton Williams, you believe that Moro Jomo is going to give you 700 snaps?
I think he's going to have to, but I feel good. I mean, I'm sorry. I get it. I get the whole premise here, but my take is that there's guys developing and that are growing as players.
Okay.
And in order for this team to work the way that they're built, especially on defense, I mean, let's be real. They're either going to pan out and we're going to have a great year, or they're not and we're going to stink. And that's how this defense is built. Look at 23. Guys didn't pan out, didn't work. So,
I don't think you're going to stink. I
don't think we're going to stink. My point is you're not going to be a contender if those guys don't pan out. But if they do pan out, you could have a year like you did last year where you're the number one defense in football. I'm betting that they pan out. I think they are. The Eagles have had really good drafts. They've had a really good success rate with players panning out. And I think it's going to work out in their favor this year.
See, when I see Jalix Hunt, then I look at Josh Sweat, 775 in snaps. I don't see that. I don't see that guy in the field for over nearly 800 snaps. Do you?
I think he could be.
Wow. Boy, is that a lot. So Makuba and Sydney probably going to share that 900 snaps with Slay, right? Or no, wait a minute. I'm sorry, Gardner Johnson. So Makuba and Sydney are going to share the 1,119 snaps that CJ had, right?
Well, yeah, or Makuba could win them all. I mean, I don't know. That's a lot of snaps.
I mean, that's a lot of on the number. And remember, folks, you could say whatever you want about him in coverage. He still was on the number one defense and the number one pass defense in pro football. I mean, you can say,
and I agree with you, but some of this is like just part of doing business. Like if you want to win a Super Bowl,
absolutely.
Yeah. Like remember the Chiefs? Like when the Chiefs won, you're really like, man, they lost some dudes, man. They got rid of L'Jarius Sneed.
Remember they sucked first part of the year.
Yeah, right. So it's like this is kind of part of the game, which is why I said what I said a minute ago. If dudes pan out, the team's going to be in great shape. If the guys don't pan out, this system doesn't work. Like paying on offense and drafting on defense doesn't work if you don't have guys that eventually can play. So they need the guys to step up. But if they do step up, I mean, shit, the upside is super high.
Don't you think there's a chance that this football team could maybe, I'm not saying you're 6-3 out of the gate. Say you're 6-3. And by the end of the season, though, Xander, you're playing like a 10-win team in the first 9 games. But at the back end, you're playing like a 14-win team. Could it be something like that where do you think that's what the Eagles are hoping? It's not so much about the record. It's more about how if they're improving.
Well, it's certainly
that
more,
Kansas City team that you reference, dude, they were playing like a 9-win football team. They got in the Super Bowl against the 49ers. They looked like a 14-win team. They only won 11 games that year. They won as many games that year. They beat the Niners as you guys did.
Well, it's the old Brady saying football starts after Thanksgiving. I mean, you got to play better late in the year. That's just a fact. Now, I don't know what they're going to look like early, but yeah, I don't think we need to sound any alarm bells early. I think the team is in good shape. They got good players. They got young, promising prospects at basically every position. And is there some question marks? Absolutely. But find me a team in the league that doesn't have a couple of question marks. And I think with the coaching, with the core that they have, with the players that are coming back and the championship pedigree that many of them have, by the way, at multiple levels, Devontae Jalen, Landon Dickerson. You're talking about on the defensive side, you got the Georgia guys, you got Jalen Carter, you got even Keely Ringo coming in. Guy won a championship, guy had a pick 6 to win a national championship. You got championship pedigree players. So I think that's a big advantage. And that's why I think the mindset in the locker room right now everybody that talks, it seems like it's a great mindset right now in that locker room.
Okay, schedule now. I thought this was interesting. You're playing 6 teams this year that now, again, because of the amount of 18% turnover that you have each and every single team in the NFL, that's an average. I mean, it's like saying, hey, what do you believe that Ohio State's going to win the national title this year when they have a completely different roster and you're talking about juniors and sophomores stepping up. It's almost the same kind of mentality as that, because you're not really bringing back, and for sure the Eagles are not bringing back the entire team. They're bringing back their pretty much offense intact, but they're not bringing their football team intact. They're just not. So it's kind of hard to apply that also. If I apply that to the Eagles, I've got to apply that to everyone else. So we're going to just use this as a metric because, again, I'm taking this article here. There's only 6 teams so far on the schedule that the Eagles will play in this year's schedule that was under 500. And in the first before the bye in week 9, there's not one team with 10 wins or less that you played, and there's 3 teams with losing records. The rest of them are like the Chiefs, Rams, Bucks, Broncos. And then in the back part of the schedule, how about this? From week 10 on, there's not one team that is below 11 wins. And there's only 1, 2, 3 teams in the final 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. There's only 3 teams that are below 500. The rest of them are above 11 or more wins. Boy, this is a pretty tough schedule, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a big group of big. And again, remember what happened in 23. And people, I know Leon was busting my stones here, but in 23, Xander, that wore out the team, don't you think, when they were playing all those games in the middle of the season with the 49ers? You had the Bills in there. You had the Cowboys in there. You had a bunch of really good football teams.
There's no way to know for sure, but yeah, I don't think you're wrong in pointing to that. That was certainly something that happened in the year, and then they collapsed after it. But I don't know. They won all those games. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Bills. They beat everybody that year.
I know,
and then they lost.
when they got to Seattle and the Giants, and the Cardinals, they blew up.
They blew up,
and those teams were lesser. So I'm saying, like I said, this is going to come down to depth, don't you think? I mean, here's something to think about too. And I point this out. Don't you think it's an advantage? And it was an advantage for Tom Brady to play against the shittiest division in his entire career when he didn't have anybody in that AFC East for 20 years to worry about.
Yep.
They were always healthy. They were always good. They didn't have to worry about their division. They always had a home field playoff game. That's an advantage, okay, when you have that. I think the tougher schedule, I think, again, the way that they have been healthy and the way that they do business, I think it's the right thing. But what do you make of the schedule? I mean, the schedule's going to be a factor.
Yeah, it's going to be a factor. I mean, you got the Cowboys on there. I think they're going to be better. I think the Vikings, who had a lot of wins last year, take a step backward. I think the Lions, who had a lot of wins last year, take a step backward. I think the Bills are probably going to be what they're going to be. Commanders, I think, are going to be what they're going to be, probably as good or better than last year. I don't know what their record will be. So there's a couple teams who I think will regress, and then there's also teams I think who are getting better. I think the Cowboys will get better. I think the Broncos have gotten better. I think the Chargers have gotten better. I even think the Raiders got a little bit better. Now, I don't think they're a contender, but I think they got better.
Yeah, they did.
So, and the Bears got better. So there's a couple teams on there that I think did get better. And look, the one thing I don't like about schedule conversations, especially early in the year, is when you do them before the season starts, they're all based on the previous year.
I know.
Like after the bye week, people will base it on what the record is in that given season. I think that's a far more important metric.
And the eyeball test.
Yes, because coming in, I mean, yes, they had a lot of wins last year, their opponents. But how many of these guys are going to be this good? Like, let's see what changes in the NFL. I mean, did anybody think the Commanders are going to win 12 games last year? No. So let's see what happens.
I thought they were going to win a lot of games. I was one of the only guys.
You did. You picked them early. That's what was one of your only good picks last year.
I thought, and plus I said Jaden Daniels would be the rookie of the year, and he was, by the way. So let's go here. Let's go to the next one. I agree with you on that schedule talk. To me, it's all about eyeballs.
Yeah, remember, I got a hard out of 30.
What's that? Yeah, I got you, brother.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a shot that they start out slowly?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look, you got a new coordinator, new offensive coordinator coming in. He's been here, but he's new to the play calling. He's got to learn. I mean, I think Jalen and the offense is going to give him some time to figure things out. You got a bunch of new guys on the defensive side of the ball. I think it's possible they start a little slow. I don't think that's slow. I mean, you look at the schedule. I'm looking at the schedule. It's like I think they win week 1 versus the Cowboys. I think they win week 2 versus the Chiefs because I don't think the Chiefs are going to be that great. I think week 3 and week 4 are going to be your toughest test of the first 4 weeks, where you got the Rams and the Bucks. Then you got the Broncos. I feel good about the 2 Giants games. I feel good about the Vikings game. Like, I think they're going to have some chances there to win games, even if they don't play their best football. And I also think the other teams are going to start slow as well. I mean, the Rams have a lot of new pieces. What does that look like for them? The Chiefs, what does that look like early for them? The Buccaneers, I think they're probably in the best shape of the teams early in the year. Broncos, they got new pieces. How will they put it together? So I feel all right. I mean, schedule's tough, but slow start could be inevitable. But as long as they're playing good post-Thanksgiving, I think it's all good. I learned my lesson. Last year after week 4, I was like, this team isn't going to be good. And I was wrong. I mean, you can't jump the gun too early. You got to let the season settle in.
Couple more here before you got to go here. Jalen Hurts has yet another new offensive coordinator. This is from the Philly Voice we're getting. 2020, Press Taylor. 2021, Shane Steichen. 2022, Shane Steichen. 23, Brian Johnson. 24, Kevin Patullo. 2025, Kellen Moore, excuse me. Then 2025, currently now, Kevin Patullo. I'll say one thing about every one of these guys. Every single one of them are different. They're all different. And their approach to the game. Every single one of these guys. You think that's a plus or a negative with all these changes for Jalen Hurts now?
Well, I think it's become less of a big deal because Jalen has learned how to deal with it a little bit more. When you're early in your career, I think you look at it and you're like, man, this is not good. But, I mean, we just won a Super Bowl with a first-year coordinator. Like, I hear you, but I can't really get myself to a point where I think it's going to be a big enough issue where it derails the team. I mean, like, again, we just won a damn Super Bowl with a new offensive coordinator. So I feel okay about it. It's not ideal, but look, this is the nature of the beast when you win and you become, one of the hottest franchises in the NFL, is that people want to pluck your staff. Look at the Howie's front office. I mean, how many guys have been plucked from his front office? The Raiders plucked 2 dudes from the front office this offseason. I mean, there's a bunch of GMs in the league right now who are from the Howie tree. So it's just what happens. If you don't figure out how to manage it, you're never going to be good again. So you got to learn how to manage it. It's a reality in their life, and I think they will learn how to manage it well.
Start slow, run Barkley. Barkley, I got you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, Fredo, you're starting to win me over more and more. I think it might be another year of that, my friend.
I do too. And really, if you want to piggyback what you just said, Xander, Press Taylor, Brian Johnson,
yep.
Alex Tanay, Doug Nussmeier, and Scott Loeffler. Those are all also the quarterback coaches. So he's had not only the fact of having 6 coordinators, but he's also had numerous quarterback.
It's like the importance of it has plateaued in a way of diminishing value. It has plateaued because it's like, at what point are you like, man, this is like a good thing? He's had so many different football minds. You know what I mean? He's used to the change. He's just adding perspectives, adding knowledge, adding different things that's, helping his repertoire.
Last one, Jake Elliott. You think that'll be an issue this year?
I think it could be. I think it's something to watch. I'm not as sold. John thinks he's going to have a bounce back year, but I will say that, the long snapper was a little bit of an issue last year that kind of flew under the radar. He's gone now. They brought in a new guy. So we'll see, but I'm a little concerned about Jake Elliott.
I mean, Justin Tucker's out there. Do you sign that guy and keep him there in the box? And then in case Jake Elliott ends up imploding?
It's not a bad call by you. I don't know what's going on with him. I know he's entrenched in some legal stuff, but look, like you always say, I'm not a moralist. I'm trying to win a football game here. Yeah.
Yeah, no charges have been charged against him. So, again, Xander, I appreciate you, brother. You make sure you have one hell of a weekend with your family, man. Thank you so much, bro.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Just one super chat we'll read real quick. That Cowboys helmet's ugly as hell, Sills.
I'll tell you what, by week 1, it will be moved. How's that for you, all right?
All right, Sills. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Hope everybody has a great weekend. I appreciate each and every one of you. Sorry for the shorter segment today. I got some big boy things I got to get done. All right? For the good of the business, for the good of JAKIB Sports, for the good of Big Sills, for the good of all of you great people. I love you all. Have a great weekend. See you next time, everybody.
You got it, Z. We appreciate you. Make sure you check out Bird's 365. Absolutely an awesome show. We're going to continue this. And then what I'm going to do, remember what I did yesterday. Okay. Remember what I did yesterday. I looked at who we look at, Keely Ringo, and we looked at Moro Ajomo. And I've got a scouting report, and we're going to do today. We are going to do Nolan Smith, and we are going to do Jalix Hunt. Now, some of you in here know the person that I deal with on a day-to-day basis. That's the senior executive of personnel for a respected football team. We'll do Jordan Davis next week, Abe. Okay? So we're going to do those two guys because edge is something that we've been concerned about. So just to finish this thing up, okay? Some of you do know where I get this from. Okay? Some of you guys do know where I get my intel from when it comes to respected teams. Do I think Jake Elliott will be an issue? I don't know. He was a year ago. There hasn't been a repeat NFC East champion since 2004. This is a crazy number. Look at this. Eagles, Giants, Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Commanders, Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, Cowboys, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles, 2020, Commanders. Commanders won the East in 20? Man, I forgot that. Cowboys, Eagles, Cowboys, Eagles to round out. There hasn't been a repeat winner in the NFC East in 21 years. That's crazy. Okay? That's crazy. And I think the Commanders are going to give the Eagles everything they want this year. By the way, I think this is pretty good. Are you going to get everyone's best this year? Is everybody going to pan out? I think this was a pretty good article, man. I think those are really great. I think those are really great takeaways. Hit the like button, guys. All supers go to the top. You guys are awesome. So who do you want me to do first? Look how much topics I have still. Mark Farzetta will join us. That'll be at 4:30. Okay? All right. Who do you want to do first? Nolan Smith or Jalix Hunt? What do you want to do first? This is a scouting report from a different team and how they see your Eagle player. And some of you named the guy's name that I get my intel from. There's 3 general managers that have a book on your guys. And I'll tell you one of them. He's not in the league right now as GM. I used to get stuff from Mark Dominic, but I don't. He's a former Buccaneer general manager. I don't from him. But Tom Telesco was the former general manager of the Chargers and also the Raiders. Okay? So do you want to let's do Jalix Hunt. Let's do Jalix Hunt first. Here is what the scouting report on Jalix Hunt is. Jalix Hunt. And for the record, let me start it out by saying this. I thought this was a whack pick. I thought this was a whack pick. And I might be wrong. A promising young edge defender known for his exceptional athleticism and versatility, stemming from his background as a converted safety. That must have been one of the most intriguing things for Vic, was that he was a former safety and that has built himself up into being an edge rusher that's 255 pounds. Let me read that again. A promising young edge defender, not rusher, edge defender. That's Josh. known for his exceptional athleticism, versatility. That's Vic, stemming from his background as a converted safety. He boasts impressive physical traits, including exceptional length, explosive burst, and the ability to bend and turn to corner, making him a potent pass rusher. While he needs to develop his pass rushing technique skills and his run defense, his potential to become a well-rounded defender is exceptionally high. This is an NFL team, not the Eagles, talking about JAKIB Hunt. I don't know how that doesn't get you juiced up. Let me continue. Strengths. Exceptional athleticism. Hunt's athleticism is a major strength, evident in his performance at the NFL Combines and his natural movement skills. He excels in drills requirement, explosiveness, and speed. That I don't know really, but it has translated to the field. Length and bend. For an edge rusher, this is essential. This is essential to have these traits right here. This is so far a fabulous read on JAKIB Hunt. His long arms and ability to bend at the top of his pass rush allow him to create leverage and flatten his path to the quarterback, making him a difficult matchup for offensive tackles. Man, when you hear that, that's the kind of stuff you hear when you're talking about Michael Parsons or J.J. Watt or T.J. Watt. Pass rush potential. Hunt's quickness and ability to threaten the edge and speed make him a promising pass rusher. He shows his ability to loop on stunts, uses his hands effectively, and gets off blocks exceptionally well. This sounds like a first-round draft choice. This has got the makings of a first-round pick. Versatility. Having played safety in the past. Isn't it funny? What position, guys, did Lane Johnson play in his past? What position did he play? What was Lane? What position did Lane play early in his life? He was a quarterback, right? Martin, right? He was a QB. I mean, the left tackle was what? A rugby player. Boy, they like athletes. They draft athletes. Here, let's continue. Special teams contribution, which Vic loves. Hunt's experience on all special teams units suggests he can be a valuable asset in that area early in his career as his development continues, which he was. Those are great strengths. Those are really great strengths to have. Now, here's his weaknesses, which there's going to be a lot, I think, because just not having the reps. Here's weaknesses. There's not many of them. Inconsistent technique. That's reps. Hunt needs to refine his pass rush technique, particularly his speed to power conversion and a variety of moves that he needs to use in pass rushing. What they're saying is he's got to learn to have a 1 move, a 2 move, and a 3 move, which means when you rush, sometimes the first move gets shut down. What's your second move? It's a trait that young players don't have. Okay? It's a trait that a lot of guys takes a little bit of time to develop. That takes more reps, more opportunities. Farzetta will join us at 4:32, by the way. So let's continue. Run defense. He needs to improve his leverage. Again, playing high, shoulder pads, and his ability to anchor against the run as he sometimes struggles to shed blocks and hold his ground. I think that's, again, playing with leverage. And that's learning, once again, how to play with leverage. Development needed. Hunt is still a relatively raw prospect, and his speed needs to further development in several areas. His game needs to improve. Yeah, I think we all knew this. Overall, Jalen Hunt is a high inside prospect with physical tools and athleticism to become a successful edge rusher in the National Football League. While he requires further development, his potential as a versatile defensive player and capable of rushing the passer, playing in space, and contributing on special teams makes him an intriguing prospect for any NFL team. So that's really great. And he's young. I think that's an exceptional scouting report on him. Let's do Nolan Smith. You should feel awful. That's awful good. I mean, there's just not a lot of weak. To me, again, he needs to just get out and play. I think that's what Vic says. Just get out and play. I mean, what were his draft numbers? Let me see what his draft numbers were here. Ran a 4.64. His 10-yard split was 1.6, 37.5 vertical. He had an 11 broad jump, 19 reps. That's not weak for an edge rusher. What was his weight? 252. 252, 20 reps. He was the 31st pick in the third round. Is that right? 24. It's a good-looking prospect, man. And now that we've seen him, get this, too. Here's something, again, that you kick yourself in the ass here. Okay? Here's something to think about. So, this guy's from where? This guy's from Florida? Good grief. So this guy's from Florida? Is that right? He's from DeBerry, Florida. Another guy that the Canes lost out on. DeBerry, Florida. Something must have been early in his career where he went to smaller schools like Cornell and this Houston Christian University. He's a smart guy. I wonder what that was, because he couldn't have been a high prospect. I mean, or maybe he just wanted to go to a school like Cornell. I don't know. I'll have to do more research on him. Okay, so I mean, let's do Nolan Smith. Interesting. I'll just tell you that right out of the gate. Nolan Smith. This is from a pro football team. Half of you in here know where I got this from. This is what a football team thinks of your guy, Nolan Smith. A versatile edge rusher, known for his exceptional athleticism, speed, and quickness, but also has some concerns regarding his size and pass rushing consistency. Already, Jalen Hunt has a better read already than Nolan Smith. He has an impressive change of direction. His flexibility can be bent to avoid offensive linemen. However, he's considered undersized for a traditional edge rusher and may struggle against stronger, bigger, more powerful offensive tackles. I think that's fair, don't you? Don't you think that's fair, right? In half a season, you're going to be asking him to play 800 reps. Okay? Hey, by the way, you see this guy here? Bend my backside friend over. Uche had 10 sacks. Azeez Ojulari had 10 sacks. Bryce Huff had 10 sacks. Where are they now? Most of those guys are on their third team. And now one guy has been traded away from you. I mean, he had 6.5 sacks. Great. You got 2 guys on your football team that had 10 sack seasons and are now on their third team. Okay. So, I mean, so let's finish this. Strengths of Nolan Smith. Athleticism. Smith possesses rare movement, skills, flexibility, and bend. I agree. Speed and quickness. He's incredibly fast and great closing speed and the ability to chase down plays from behind. Change of direction. Smith has impressive ability, showing him to change of direction quickly and win with inside and outside moves. I don't think anybody's questioning his ability. I think people are questioning, again, his durability. That's what I'm reading so far. Versatility. He can rush the passer from multiple positions, drop into coverage, and play off-ball linebacker. I haven't seen him do that yet, but they're not asking him. Get this. This is good. Run defense. Smith is surprisingly strong against the run, showing the ability to anchor in blocks and make plays. They drop character in here. He is described as a high-character player, strong leadership qualities. I agree. Motor. Smith has a nonstop motor and a knack for making plays. These are all quality, man. This is good. Instincts. He's an instinctive player with good play, recognition, and awareness. Now, here come the weaknesses. Smith is considered an undersized for an edge rusher and may struggle against larger, stronger offensive tackles. Pass rush arsenal. He's somewhat reliant on his athleticism and may need to develop a more diverse set of pass rushing moves. That'll come with time. Remember something. When you're in college, you're so gifted that you're killing lesser players. You're just, I mean, I'll say this with pride. Man, I was never blocked in college. I was never blocked in college. I don't ever remember. The guy may have got me on a particular play 1 or 2 times. I never was blocked. Why? I was faster, stronger, and quicker than you. So when you play in college, like Jerome, I don't ever remember getting blocked. I remember him taking a couple plays off, but I don't ever remember him getting blocked. We never were blocked. But when you get to the pros, these guys are different. It's a different world. They're all freaking great players. They play with great. The difference, no, get this, Penn State, no. I was never blocked in that game. They never blocked me. I led my team in tackles with 11 tackles. I had 2 sacks, and we held them to 130 yards of total offense and 6 first downs. You think they fucking blocked me? Steve, they never blocked me. And they never blocked Jerome. They had 6 first downs. I mean, yeah, they blocked me. So they had 130 yards of total offense. And they had 6 first downs. They didn't block anybody on that defense. Yeah, Vinny had 7 interceptions. We had 9 turnovers. Yeah, that's how we lost. I mean, yeah, I get it. But my point is, in college, you're going to kill everyone. To the pros, you've got to have great technique. Okay? Never. Let's see here. How about this? I did more in 1 year than Jordan Davis did in his entire 4 years at Georgia. In his entire 4 years, I did more. Okay? In 1 year, I did more than that guy did in 4 years. How you doing? Let's finish up here with Nolan Smith. Coverage ability. While versatile, he may need further development in man coverage. Again, more reps, more reps. Here's something here too. Torn pec muscle. He suffered a torn pec muscle in college, which may raise injury concerns for teams. Also, he was just injured. Hey, guys, what did he injure? What did he injure? And why is he out? Was it his shoulder? What was it his shoulder? Okay. What was it his shoulder that he had? It was his shoulder? Tricep? Okay, so he's hurt his pec and now his shoulder. I don't know. Here, let's read the overall. Smith is a high upside player with a unique combination of athleticism and play recognition. He could be a valuable asset to the Eagles while developing his pass rushing technique, potentially utilizing him in various roles, including linebacker and also edge rusher. I think there's a higher conversation about Jalix Hunt than there is this guy. I think Nolan Smith's a good ball player. He won't last. I just don't think he's going to last. Vic says it all the time. Okay? Vic says it all the time. He's undersized. He's small. He is small. And will he be able? What did Josh Sweat? How many plays did Josh Sweat play last year? No way. There is no way in hell that Nolan Smith is going to make a 17-game football season playing how many reps? He'll be taking over, let's see here. There is no way he's going to play 800 snaps and not get injured. No way. No way, no how. No way. Hey, let's write that down. Let me take this page. June 27th. Not a chance in hell. Nolan Smith plays over 900 plays. I'll go 800. In 2025. No way. Played half a season last year. No way. And Vic calls him undersized. Your D coordinator does, not me. I don't call him that. He's perfect. That's not what your defensive coordinator says. That's not what he says. Little different. Oh, what? Martin thinks I said that. No, your D coordinator said that. Martin, I see Bond and Nolan rotating once Jihad. That's a great take now, Martin. Where does Jihad Campbell fit in that? Okay? Where does Jihad Campbell? Get this. Nakobe Dean can play, but they're moving on from him. Why? Because he's always injured. Right? Because he's always injured. Right? Okay. Hit that like button. Guys, your supers are good, and I appreciate you guys. All right. Farzetta's going to join us at 4:30. I'm going to roll into this one now. By the way, my overall takeaway, those are very good. Those are very good scouting reports on both those guys. Okay? I think Nolan Smith, in my opinion, I think he's a really good player. He's just small. I mean, he's just a small dude. Jalix Hunt is the better prospect because he's bigger and he's built for the NFL. They're gonna have to do this with Nolan Smith. They got to play him on the weak side. Because if you line him up over offensive tackles and tight ends, he's not going to make the year. Okay? I don't believe Smith makes the season. I don't. We shall see. If he does, he's going to make $25 million. If he doesn't, he's going to be, again, really, get this. Dean isn't going anywhere. So you're going to pay him $18 million too? $13 million next year, Twiz? You're going to have two linebackers. So what are you doing with Reed? You pay him too? Then why'd you draft the linebacker? Are you replacing Bond or Dean with Campbell? Vic already said it. They're not playing him outside. He's starting off ball inside. Vic said it when he was in front of the media. So who's he replacing? You drafted him 31st in the NFL draft. You're not drafting him to be a backup. Where are you playing him? You're not playing him at edge. Vic said it. You're not playing him at edge. They're playing him inside. Where are you playing him? What linebacker does he take, Twiz? Zach Bond's spot, who you just gave 17-5 to? Or Nakobe Dean? Who you won the Super Bowl without? You didn't need him. Nobody wants to hear that. You didn't need Dean to win the Super Bowl. You didn't need him. You had a special teams guy step in. A special teams guy played that role as good or better. You didn't need him. And you want to what? Keep him? All right. He was drafted to replace Dean, who can't stay healthy. Right. That's exactly right. Don't disrespect Eagles legend Oren Burks. Hey, I thought he was absolutely fabulous in the postseason. I really did. I thought he was great. I like that. Hey, again, I think those weren't bad scouting reports. They were not bad scouting reports on him, man. I wouldn't take offense to any of that. Absolutely no way. I wouldn't go down that lane. All right. So we did Jalix Hunt. I want to get into another topic here. What has been the main difference? What was the main difference in last year's offensive approach? Personnel-wise. What was different a year ago? Personnel-wise. Seals, hear me out. I think Vic wants to see what Trotter does. I agree. And if he pans out, it will be Jihad and Trotter at the linebacker with Bond rushing. So you're going to move. But here, Martin, let me ask you this. You're going to move a first-team All-Pro to another position. Why? Why would you move the best linebacker in football to a lesser position so you can make room for a rookie? Why would you do that? I'm not saying you're wrong that he won't rush. I think he's going to rush this year. I even made the comment he could be one of the top sack guys on the team this year. Okay? I'm not saying you're wrong here. But moving Bond to different positions, that's okay. But to take him out of that, I don't know. No. Only when Bond is going to rush. Okay. So you're saying on third down, they're going to put Campbell and Dean in there and move him out there on third down. Boy, I don't know, man. He was awful good in that zone last year. He was exceptional in that zone. But it's what Yale just said here. There's a lot of pieces in the pie here that you can move around players. All right. Let me get to a topic that I just said here. Here's where I'm going. You tell me. Who was the best running back on the football team in 2022 and 2023? Who was the best running back? Who was the best running back in Jalen's offense in 2022 and 2023? Who was the best running back? Who was the best running back? 2022 on the Eagles and 2023. Almost all of you have gotten it. How many people feared Sanders? Miles Sanders in 22. I didn't. How many people feared DeAndre Swift in 23? I didn't. How many people feared Jalen Hurts in 22 and in 23? I did. Who was the best running back in 2024? Saquon Barkley. What you created was, with that offense, I asked a defensive coordinator this question. I asked Dave Wannstedt this last night about the difference between the Eagles personnel-wise. Listen to this, Yale. I know. I thought it was exceptionally interesting last night. How about this? So I asked Dave. Dave goes, well, 22 and 23. Hurts was the most dangerous runner on the Philadelphia Eagles. I said, yeah, but the other guy had 1,300 yards. The other guy had 1,100 yards. And he goes, did you really fear those guys? Like you felt with Hurts pulling the ball down and running up the field and taking off? I said, no. I go, I was more concerned about Jalen running than I was concerned about those other guys. Those other guys were dudes. He goes, exactly. He goes, you know what happened in 24? Jalen Hurts became the X factor because they were more nervous about him keeping the ball and running than they were about Barkley. Every time Barkley, I thought it was one of the most interesting comments I had been on when it came to Barkley and Hurts's ability to be on the field at the same time. That led me to believe this. Joe Burrow can't run that offense. I wouldn't respect the run game as much. I mean, Joe Burrow's not going to run that fucking ball. He has no interest in running that. Now, maybe a guy like Allen or Lamar, you would have a little more, but a drop back quarterback can't play in that offense. There is no, I go, So you're telling me a drop back guy, he goes, in that offense? No way. Because the element of the quarterback running is taken away. You need to have an exceptional decision-making running back play that style of play. Whether it's 2,900 yards or whether it's 35 or 3,600 yards or $4,000, it doesn't really matter. You have really great receivers because people fear those guys, but they fear the element of Hurts. Who's the one guy that doesn't have a defender for? It's the quarterback. I'm like, Dave, you're telling me that Barkley got that $2,000 because Jalen Hurts was on the field? He says, yes. I said, he goes, if Joe Burrow was the quarterback of the Eagles, Barkley gets 1,500 yards. He doesn't get $2,000. Yes, Jaden Daniels is somebody like that. And I'm like, wow. That was the take. The take was more like, well, they're not going to be able to run. The element of Hurts running. Hurts is no longer the best back on the team and the most feared back, but you have to attribute to him. So from now on, in building the team, if the Eagles want to continue building around Jalen Hurts, the number one thing they have to do is make sure when you bring a back in, make sure you get a guy that's better than him at running the football, because you'll be able to utilize Brown, Smith in the passing game, and the running game will be even more feared because one of the best open field runners is the second best option running the ball. He could be one of the best options, period, running the ball. Dave laid it out for me. He goes, the Eagle offense was unstoppable because of the ability of the quarterback to run the ball. I go, well, how good do you think? He goes, Jalen Hurts, in his opinion, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley were by far better than what Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry did in Baltimore. I said, yeah, but one guy had $2,000. The other guy had 4,100 yards and 40 touchdowns. He goes, great. But they were stopped, were they not? I said, yeah. He goes, and they had the number one defense in the league. You had the number one defense and the best dual threat runners in all of football and a quarterback who could throw on third down, right? He goes, you can't be bought. You can't be beat. I said, it's not about the passing yards. It's about Hurts' versatility. That's what's undefendable when you have a guy like Saquon back there. Saquon was the missing link to this whole thing. Now, and get this, it doesn't have to be Saquon. It could have been Josh Jacobs. It could have been Derrick Henry. But it's got to be someone of that talent to play in this. There is no doubt Howie learned a lesson and learned something with Barkley being added to the team. Let me ask you this. What do you think has been a bigger addition to the offense talent-wise in the last 5 years? The addition of A.J. Brown or Saquon? Who's been the more Barkley? Okay. AJ's awful good. AJ makes you think about the pass and the run. He surely does. AJ's the best wide receiver you've ever had. Make no mistake about that. Okay? I thought the media said running backs don't matter in a passing league. Hey, they were wrong. I never said, I've always said this since 1920. if you can run the ball, you could defend a run, you're going to win a ton of games. Nothing's changed in my book. Nothing has changed. You can run it and defend it, the run, you're going to win. I will never deviate off that. Seals, if you think about it, Hurts and Barkley's running game rivals Detroit's running game. Yeah, but here, I agree. But I think that Gibbs is a great back, and I think that other kid, Davenport's a good back. But I think Saquon and Hurts, they're the best tandem of running back, quarterback in the league. And that's hard for me to say with a two-time MVP and a guy going to Canton. And you combine that with the O-line. Now, could Saquon and Jalen Hurts do the same shit with the giant O-line? Highly unlikely. It's Montgomery. Thank you. Thank you, Abe. Highly unlikely. The O-line is clearly the catalyst. Okay? Brian, how far was the Lions headed to a monster from a 2K? I'll tell you this. They had a two-headed monster. I think one guy was going to get, I think they were both on pace for over 1,100 yards. And then Davenport ended up, or Montgomery, excuse me. I don't know why I'm saying Davenport. Montgomery ended up getting hurt, the kid from the Bears. He ended up getting hurt and missed time. They were going to have two guys go over 1,100 yards. They were really great. Absolutely. They were fabulous in how they played. That's right. He's not a running threat. Thank you, Twiz. Awesome. Saquon was amazing, but it wasn't the difference in the defense in 22. We got – wait a minute. Wait a minute, Twiz. Saquon was amazing, but he wasn't the difference. The defense was 22. We got there with Miles. The middle of our zone cost us. You were number 2 in the NFL in defense, Twiz. You make it sound like that 22 group sucked. They had 70 sacks and were number 2 overall in defense. They had a bad game against a great coach and a great football team. You got beat by better coaching and poor decisions and a fumble by the quarterback. That's how you got beat. The quarterback fumbled in that game too. I know the defense couldn't stop Mahomes, nor could the Niners the following year. I mean, you're downplaying. You know, I heard something on Birds today that kills me. You know what it is? Every single person in here that hates on Wentz, you do that because you want to elevate Jalen Hurts more when you don't want to give that guy credit for what he did when he was here, which is pathetic. Okay? You shit on Wentz because you don't want anyone to be like thought of as being in the same conversation with your baby boy, Jalen Hurts. That's ridiculous. Wentz had a 3.5 year run where he was one of the best quarterbacks in pro football. Deal with it. But shit, anybody who says that, they get their panties in a bind because, again, you think it's taking a shot at your boyfriend, which is not. Yeah, he was 22, was smoking without our pass rush. Well, wait a minute. So are you saying this, Twiz? Twiz, it's a debate here, that's all. Twiz, so then you're telling me that Howie got snookered or he got bullshitted because right after that 22, you gave James Bradbury a 3-year contract that paid him in excess of $13.5 million a year. So he was bullshitted himself and didn't know the defense and didn't know the personnel on his team because he got bullshitted because of that 22 defense. Your so-called golden GM got bullshitted because he bought into smoke and mirrors, what you're saying. Is that right? Because after 22, You gave Bradbury that 3-year deal, and you paid him a boatload of money up front. And you had another corner making 11 and a half. So how we got bullshitted? Wow. That's what Twins is saying. Smoke and mirrors. Howie Roseman got bullshitted into giving James Bradbury a contract then. Right? So wait a minute. No. What I'm saying to you is, though, he didn't address the linebackers and nickel. Agreed. Well, then why'd you play Bradbury? He sucked just as bad as the linebackers in 23. He was no better than any of those guys. You know what's funny? I told you, if you don't get pressure and the volume of pressure that you had in 22, your defense is going to fall apart. Don't be shocked. Now, again, and I agree with Twiz on this. I said it, that this group here is by far better because they didn't have the volume of sacks or pressures on the quarterback. What they did better than anybody else was what? I said it yesterday. They set the edges. They kept everything contained. They kept everything in a bubble. They kept everything in the run game, in the pass game, in the middle of the field. Like I said a year ago, or a day ago, how many people had 100 yards rushing on you? 1 or 2? Nobody ran the ball on you. I mean, like I said, according to Twiz, it was smoke and mirrors. Could have been. So how we got bullshitted into giving Bradbury a deal. So he didn't know what he was doing, according to Twiz, because he didn't dress the linebackers, right? Okay. How he learned a lesson made him better. He addressed the linebackers, correct? Actually, Vic addressed the linebackers. Vic found the right pieces and the right coach in Bobby King. I mean, everyone knows Vic Fangio hired Bobby King. He said it. No. And Twiz, he learned he addressed the wrong guy. Let me ask you this. Twiz, you tell me, who do you think had a better season as a group? The linebacking core or the secondary a year ago? By the way, you were number 1 in pass defense. Who had a better year? Linebackers or the secondary on that number 1 ranked defense? Abe says the secondary. I'm saying linebackers. Let me ask you something, Abe. How many All-Pros you have back there in the secondary? Let me see here. You had 160? You had 120. You had 280 tackles between the 2 starting linebackers for the regular season, and Dean and with Zach Bond. Bro, what do you think this is? A liberal show? There's no pushes on liberal. There's no pushes here. We don't have pushes. Make an opinion, Brian. Okay? Ain't no pushes. Well, take both. No. Wrong show. That's for one of them George Soros shows over at IP. Hey, that's what that is. W.I. Soros. I had to. I'm sorry. I had to. W.I. Soros. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Hit the like button and supers go to the top. Howie's biggest credit since 2017 is he owns up to his mistakes. Bradbury, Huff, Rager, and corrects them early. Absolutely. Kyle, How many times did a tight end kill us last year? I don't remember, man. I remember any tight ends going across the middle of that seam. I agree. Okay. WIP Soros. Oh my God. Yeah. Hey, could you imagine me on WIP Soros? Holy cow. I'd be in the principal's office every day. What'd you say? What did you say about Caitlin? What did I say about Caitlin? Oh yeah, Caitlin. Hear Jason Whitlock say that she's Jackie Robinson because she's getting the shit kicked out of her in the WNBA. I'm not going there. Jason Whitlock says that she looks like she's Jackie Robinson in the WNBA. You see, the difference with her is that they hate her because she's successful, and they hate her because she's white, and they hate her because the great players that played before her, nobody cared about. That's why they don't like her. A lot of, you know what? If you guys remember, on some of you that are old as me, they did that same kind of shit to Jordan. What's his name? George Gerving and all them guys. They couldn't stand Jordan when he came into the NBA. Scoring champ, the Nike shoes. He had like one of the first brand shoes where he collected all the money on sales. Do you know that? Jordan was the first guy that started getting money for the shoes and a percentage of the sales. The rest of those deals, like when Bird and Magic signed those conference contracts, they got a salary. They didn't get a percentage of the sale of the shoes. Okay? They did not. Oh my God, I can't wait to post this. WIP Soros. I mean, sounds like a couple of billionaires that could be taxed more. I don't care. Hey, man, whatever. What's this? Yeah, I love white folks. Hey, I do too, man. They pay a lot. Hey, as far as I'm concerned, if I was a WNBA, white folks going to ball games now, buying tickets. I love white folks too. Why not? Didn't Eazy-E say this? And that's straight out of Compton. You bought them. I don't care what you do with the records. Fuck it. You want to burn them? That's your deal. They bought them. They can do whatever they want. I don't care. You need to have the Eazy-E mentality. Hey, I'm going to go there and support my white chick. Great. That means that everyone that's in the building gets a percentage of the sales of what's going on, and plus television ratings are going up. That means everybody, black and white, are benefiting from her being in the room, and I get paid for that? Isn't that the ultimate? Yeah, great. How's that not great? I don't get that. How you get this? So wait a minute now. All the black women who were prior to Caitlin Clark showing up have done nothing to move the needle on the WNBA. Have done nothing to move the needle, right? Nothing. Zero. The WNBA ran out of loss. They had horrible ratings. I didn't even know when their season was. I've watched more WNBA games over the last 2 years than I ever have watched NBA games. Okay? I have. She's Jordan and Bird. And everybody's benefiting from it. She's a cash cow. People don't, I don't get how you get jealous. You mean like this? It's like if you're a black player in the WNBA and she's in the WNBA, it's like I own a piece of her. Because if I'm making money because she's in the league, that's the ultimate get over. It's the ultimate get over. How do you not see that as being a positive? I don't get that. Or is it about ego? Ego's the worst human trait you can have because it costs people. Oh my God, I can't tell you how many times it's cost me. Right? Crazy. Hey, there's a potential trade going on with the Cowboys. Mark Farzetta is going to join us at 4:30, and we're going to talk to our friend here in a couple of minutes. There is a potential trade. Who do you think the Cowboys are in conversations with right now? Because they have to better their football team. And it's a conversation that's pretty real. And I heard it through the grapevine through an agent. I'm going to use my uncle's line, only color I see is green. There you go. That's all the color billionaires see. What deal do you think the Dallas Cowboys are in the process of making to make their football team better and competitive against the Philadelphia Eagles? Who's the one guy that can help them? I'll give you a hint. He's in the NFC. Anybody guess? There's a potential trade out there. I'm going to post this after the program. Yale. Yale's on to it. Think hard now. Look at Yale here. One player that the Dallas Cowboys are in contact with, and I want you to think about the organization in the NFC that there's a tie-in. I'll tell you, Stephen Jones told me. He asked me about this player. Stephen Jones has been on this program how many times? 4? Miles. McCaffrey. Nope. Not McCaffrey. You're getting warmer. Cowboys want to send a deal. Want to send some draft picks for this player. Terry McLaurin. Nope. I got Farzy in the green room here. There is a potential deal on the table now for the Dallas Cowboys to make a trade. Stephen Jones has been on this program 4 times, the CEO of the Cowboys. And I asked him, you ready? Kellen Moore and Stephen Jones are trying to work a deal to send Alvin Kamara to the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what the draft picks are, but they want to get Alvin Kamara in Dallas. And Kellen Moore, obviously, with the relationship that he has with the Cowboys, they are trying to make that deal happen before training camp. They need it back. Now, I think Kamara is still one of the most versatile players in the game. Why would Alvin Kamara want to stay in New Orleans? I don't even know who the quarterbacks are there. I mean, I don't even know what they have. Alvin Kamara is still a 7, 8, 900-yard rusher and a 6 or 7 or 800-yard receiver. And that would help the Cowboys immensely. And I agree. I think he's starting to get up there a little bit long in the tooth. And he's been injured 2 of the last 3 years. But that's on the table. Okay? That's on the table there. So, all right. Guy who starts the broadcasting off here on our great network here at JAKIB. Love listening to him. By the way, we know I love the fact that we have dubbed now WIP, WI Soros. So you have to be careful here. We now have our friend here who's worked at both places, by the way, and is the fan of Gabagool. And he is the king of Gabagool. Our dear friend, Mark Farzetta. How you doing, brother?
I'm honored to be inaugurated. What's the coronation? My coronation day of Gabagool. This is a big day. I should have called my dad. He would have been here. He would have been celebrating. This would have been amazing for a father.
I love Gabagool too. I'm a Gabagool guy, man. I don't know.
Yeah, when you're talking about the Gabagool, you're also talking about the mortadelle. You're also talking about like a nice sopressat. You're talking about a nice prosciutto, all that. Put them all together. I don't care. I'm a meat lover in that regard, my friend. I'll go that way. Let's go.
I'll tell you what, man. I got to tell you that when you showed me the prosciutto, there's nobody, we get the prosciutto. We get it a little bit, we get it a little bit of times. We get a pound here or there.
Yeah.
This guy's got like 13 pounds of a piece of prosciutto. I mean, that sucker, when you showed it to me, man, it was like an asteroid. I was like, look at that thing, man.
It was a full leg, my friend. Full leg. My cousins and I were all getting together, and I figured, what better time? What better time to just go full leg, a nice prosciutto for everybody, right? I even got the knife to do the hey, yeah, right through. It was beautiful, man.
All right, I want to play a game with you here. Okay?
Yeah. If Alvin Kamara goes to the Cowboys, he then sucks. Yes, is that the game?
No, wait a minute. Now, what do you make of that? What do you make of Kamara potentially going to the Cowboys here with, the relationship of Kellen Moore and Stephen Jones and those guys, and maybe they're trying again. That they are in salary cap hell.
Uh-huh.
They still got $63 million. They still got to cut loose before they end up really getting into July here. So they've got still money to get out from under when it comes to that salary cap. But, I mean, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, if I can do my impression of somebody who's completely non-biased when talking about the Cowboys, it's smart on their part to get somebody who still has playmaking ability, obviously, and I agree with you, still a very versatile back in the NFL, no doubt. And it's also really smart of Kellen Moore to look around what he has in New Orleans and be like, yeah, this ain't it. Okay, what do we do for the future, the not too distant future? And you got to start selling off assets to bring in some other assets that you can build with. So, look, I absolutely get it for both sides. I believe it was 14 games Kamara played in last year, 13 or 14 games he played in last year. So, I still think he can be a durable player and not somebody that's going to be injury prone, 29 years old right now. It's a good move. It's a good move for both sides. Sell, and this is going to make him sound older than he is, but sell an aging veteran and be able to bring back something to help you down the line. It's smart on both sides.
I see a tan on you here. You must be hanging out with Cooper DeJean over there at Wildwood. I mean, I got to tell you, brother, one of the most disturbing things I ever saw was Jason Kelsey in a thong. I mean, dude, that is not a look I'm looking for. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of videos going around, and then there's Cooper DeJean there, man. He's just gunning beers, and I mean, I know he was in Iowa. And I know there's not like a lot of women there or something. I don't know what it is, but he's
civilization.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, he got corn, silos, and cow chips.
Oh, have you been cow tipping, Sills? Have you ever been cow tipping? Oh, baby. Oh, that's a time. That's a time.
You know what? I've lived out in there. When they dropped me off, like in Illinois one time, off of like Interstate 80, where we lived for a bit, I looked around and I thought I went to Mars. I was like, where am I here, man? Are you kidding me? And so, like, no, are you concerned about all that stuff, though? I mean, he's enjoying himself.
Yeah, here's the way I look at it. As long as he's all business when it's time for business, then I'm fine with it. This is another test. Look, I don't look at it with Cooper DeJean as a negative thing. I think he's a very young man who just had a lot of success. He came in, and when he took over the nickel spot for the Eagles defense, it really did transform things and made really turn things around. And he intercepted Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Live it up, man. It's kind of like when a heavyweight champion gets dethroned and the guy that just took the belt from him just talks all that jive. They're like, yeah, enjoy it. Do your thing, man. This is your moment to shine. Just don't get knocked out the next time around, because what everybody's going to go to is, yeah, this guy's too busy about partying in the offseason that he is about getting ready. Like, no, just as they say, and I know people roll their eyes, but as they say, keep the main thing. And so far through minicamp, through OTAs, there has not been a negative thing said about his game. In fact, adding to his responsibility. So if you go back to minicamp and you go back to the OTAs and all that stuff, and something was up with Cooper DeJean looks a little off. Something seems a little off. If even a little whisper of that was out there, and then all the partying surfaces and all that stuff, then people would be all in an uproar. But the fact that he partied in the offseason, showed up for OTA, showed up for minicamp, continues to party, and right there in the middle, you have Vic Fangio saying, yeah, he'll be nickel for us again. Yeah, we're going to have him on the outside. Yeah, we're going to have him at safety a little bit. And they're only finding more excuses to get this guy more snaps. Yeah. Then I have no problem with it. I think it's a great thing. And hey, if I was him with that, with that athletic ability, with that, the gorgeous coif of hair, I'd be out there partying it up too, my friend.
I see. So it comes down to the hair. I got it.
Definitely.
I think that. If you're jealous of Cooper, there's only one thing. It's over the full lid he's got, right? It's over
absolutely.
the dome. I got it. You see, but I don't really think I think you're a fake bald guy. Okay. I don't really think you're a real bald guy. I think you're a phony bald guy. Am I wrong or right?
I got the full cul-de-sac, toilet seat, whatever you want to call it, man. There's nothing going. For all the young guys watching right now that are deciding when to shave their heads and be like, I got to fight the good fight. I got to keep fighting the fight. No, let go. Just like Hugh Douglas told me years ago. Thank you. Oh, God bless you.
You're Italian. It's easy for us to say it, so it's all good.
If I wasn't able to get the bronze look in the summertimes, my friend, then I might reconsider. But as Hugh Douglas used to tell Donovan McNabb, just let go, man. Just let go. Just let go. Fellas, it was very liberating. When I lost this little patch, boom, I was like, it's time. I don't have that little flap in front. You were a patch guy.
Oh, totally. Yeah. This is you here.
I fought the good fight. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I fought the good fight, but then it was time to break out the razor, friend.
Gotcha, man. All right, I want to play a game with you here. So I'm actually going to take. This is from the Philly Voice. You probably know who these guys are. I really don't know who these folks are. But I actually fell in love with this article here. 10 reasons the Eagles will be a dumpster fire.
Jimmy. That's season. Jimmy.
Okay. Yeah, it's Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. 10 reasons that the Eagles will be a dumpster fire this year. And they're pretty interesting takes. Now check it out here.
Yeah.
The Eagles put a lot of mileage on Barkley in 2024, including the playoffs. Barkley had an astounding 482 touches in 24. Now get this. Mark, check this out. That was the third highest number of touches in a single season since 2000. There have been 17 players that have had 430 or more touches in a single season. And if you go down this list, there's only 3 players that improved their yards per carry and their production since 2000. And I mean, 482 carries. It's the third most of any back since 2000. DeMarco Murray, 497 in 14. You know how that ended. Mm-hmm. And Eddie George had 488 in 2000, and then Barkley. Are you concerned about that, especially when you add that in his past, he had 3 years where he was injured in the last 5 years with the amount of carries? Again, I know this is a major focal point of conversation this offseason, but those numbers don't lie, man. I mean, now the caveat would be I do believe he's got the best O-line since 2000.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, I'll put it to you like this. Yeah. So this is probably the topic I bring up most on my show when the conversation comes up or the topic comes up about what does Kevin Patullo need to do that's different from Kellen Moore? What's the adjustment that needs to be made? And I bring up 482 all the time. Wow. I brought up that number so many times. 482, the amount of touches that Saquon Barkley had last year, including the playoffs. I don't care who you are. That's a hell of a lot. And there's a lot of people, historic, as you just pointed out there in the article. There are a lot of people that be like, they're not Derrick Henry touches. You know, it's not like he's getting hit behind a line of scrimmage and then get hit 5 more times and then he keeps going. Yeah, I don't care. That's a huge workload for everybody. So worried, concerned. Yeah, I would certainly, I'd inch that way, but I'll tell you what it definitely is. It's on my radar. It's on my radar to the point that my number one question for Kevin Patullo is, hey, are you going to lean a little bit heavier on the passing game? I'm not saying I need Jalen Hurts to throw 350 yards and Brown and Smitty, they have, 10 catches each every game and 5 to Dallas Goedert. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying squeeze that into the game plan a little bit more. This needs to be a run-first team. When you have Saquon Barkley healthy, you have this offensive line. I don't want them to all of a sudden shift to become a pass-happy team. Don't want that. But I'm saying, can I get, and I've even said this to you, can I get not bottom of the barrel in terms of pass attempts? Can I get, what I have asked for is a middle-of-the-road passing game. That's all I'm asking for. Just don't be last. Be middle of the road. And some of this falls on Jalen Hurts' shoulders, because if we're going to give him credit, as I have many times, and other guys are going to credit him for checking down to the run and noticing what the defense is doing and breaking that down and saying, all right, this one has to go to Saquon, then Jalen needs to take a little bit more responsibility for himself and realize, damn, this guy's just coming off that kind of season, historic. I really want him at that same level by the time the postseason rolls around. Maybe I don't check to him in this situation. Maybe I throw in this situation. Maybe I go, instead of to the best play here is this run, but the second best one is this passing play. I'm going to go with the passing play. That's what I want from Jalen. That's what I want from Kevin Patullo. Lean a little bit more on the passing game, because those numbers are historic for a running back. And I just want Saquon Barkley to be healthy and as fresh as possible by the time the postseason rolls around.
I'll tell you this, too. You bring up a great point here, and I'll ask you this. With all these coordinators that he's had, when does it get to a point where Jalen Hurts gets to the line of scrimmage and doesn't have to look over, and you have to have any concerns who the coordinator is, like whether it's Eric Bieniemy or whomever? Now, look, there's an advantage because Andy is really the play caller. We all know that. I get it. But, I mean, if you're going to have all this turnover, when does it get to a point where Jalen Hurts is making the calls himself? I mean, last year he just learned how to set protections.
Yeah.
I mean, we're here now. I mean, the guy's an MVP. Personally, I can't believe he's had the amount of success with the amount of coordinator changes that the guy has had. And we would all agree, every year he's been a quarterback, every year the system has been different. Throw it a lot more in 23, throw it less in 24. He was multitasking in 22. He was learning in 21. Where are we now? What version are we going to get of him this year?
I feel like the big question going into last year was Jason Kelce. And Jason Kelce does a lot for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts without Jason Kelce, what's he going to do? Well, a lot of the protections, a lot of those pre-snap breakdowns of what the defense was doing did not come from the center, Cam Jurgens. It was all about Jalen Hurts taking that next step forward in his career with the mental aspect of the game. Everyone talks about how much he hits the books, student of the game and all that. But how much is he going to step up with the mental aspect of the game without Jason Kelce there in front of him? Well, he passed that with flying colors last year. So the next step is saying, all right, I at one point with these offensive weapons, including Jalen Hurts himself, including Saquon Barkley, guess what? Kevin Patullo probably ain't going to be here that much longer anyway. Or either, I should say. So sooner or later, it's got to come down to Jalen Hurts just being a kingmaker of his offensive coordinators. And if he can take that step forward, and I know it's going to be more of the revolving door at the OC spot, and I also think part of the reason Kevin Patullo was elevated to the role was because he has a little bit of staying power, maybe 2 years as the offensive coordinator here in Philly. Jalen Hurts needs to take that step forward like he did last year without Jason Kelsey. He moved to Cam Jurgens. He passed it with flying colors. Now he has to take that step forward with yet another offensive play caller and put it all on him. It was 1 year with Kellen Moore. It's probably going to be 1 or 2 at the most with Kevin Patullo, but he has to become the smartest guy in the room when it comes to diagnosing what's in front of him, what plays the right one, and no matter who the play caller is, he's got to decide what's the best possible play to run against the defense at the very last second. And that's where the checkdowns come in. Dallas Goedert last year, if you remember, raved about him after that Saints game, checking down for that 67-yard pass that they were able to do on that rub route across the middle. That was great. Yep. A lot of the Dallas Goedert more than anybody, Saquon Barkley as well, raved about Jalen Hurts' ability to be able to change the play at the line of scrimmage, recognizing what the defense is doing. Keep the progression that way, and the offensive coordinator will become less and less important to Jalen Hurts, especially with the turnover at that spot for the Eagles.
Absolutely, man. I mean, here, what you're saying then is this. Kevin Patullo, if they win, he's gone. If they lose, he's gone. I mean, that's been the trend, right?
So
Hurts has to would you agree? Next year, there's a high probability there'll be another coordinator.
Yes, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But if they have, God forbid, another 2023 end of the season, Kevin Patullo is going to be back. Because again, he's got more of that staying
Even
power.
If it's a meltdown like that.
If it's a meltdown like that, I think Kevin Patullo still stays. If it's, I mean, look, the optics of it obviously matter. I think they're going to want to give him another year. I think he's going to have a grace period with Nick Sirianni, as his head coach. So, and it's going to be more sway than I think Doug Peterson had at the time, considering, Nick Sirianni has been to the playoffs every year. Nick Sirianni has been to 2 Super Bowls. He's won 2 conferences and a Super Bowl, obviously. So I think he's going to have a little bit more of a leash. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that's the way I think the Eagles are going to read it. I think he's going to have a little bit of a grace period here. I don't think he'll be a one-and-done offensive coordinator in terms of the negative aspect of it. Might be that in the positive aspect of it if he ends up having another Super Bowl-type season for this Eagles team, and then he'll get hired as an OC or a head coach, somewhere else.
Couple more for you here. I didn't realize this, Farzy, but here's another question here. Jalen Carter, counting the postseason, had 1,027 reps. Only Zach Allen of the Broncos had more. I get it. He's 22, 23 years old, all that. But with the amount of minuses of players that have been exited off the team, am I going to sit here and believe you're going to see less double teams with guys who have not started or guys who have not played? I mean, 1,000. After that, the third guy is Kobe Turner from the Rams with 900. I mean, are they really putting a lot? Now, look, you're going to pay the guy $35, $37 million. And I get the fountain of youth is great. No doubt about it. But still, boy, are you putting a lot on his plate as well. I mean, that means this. You take that dude off the field, God forbid, your defense is imploded.
Yeah. This is where the improvement of Jordan Davis comes in, the hopeful improvement of Jordan Davis. This is where Ty Robinson comes in. This is where the development of Moro Ojomo comes in. But when you break it all down, Jalen Carter still has to talk about improvement. He's got to do it. And last year was a shining example of that when you're talking about conditioning being a topic for him and Jordan Davis. Well, Jalen Carter, certainly over the last year under Vic Fangio, has really matured as a player. And Vic Fangio, the littlest thing he'll pick on with Jalen Carter.
He does.
Yeah, I mean, look, hey, you far exceed my experience in playing sports, my friend. And I think you know this, but it's true at every single level, from peewee to high school to college to the pros. When the coach stops talking to you, that's when you have a problem. That's when you should I should pack the bag, get the Greyhound ticket, and I'm out. But when
the comment that he made at the press conference, why did it take Jordan Davis until week 13 to get in shape? And he goes, well, I'm going to pass on that. I mean, if my coach ever said that, that's a rip for me being a fat body. Yeah. I mean, I've got to be in shape, man. I mean, I thought that was really an awful shot at the kid. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed in him. I think he's got to take. You think he takes the game serious enough?
Jordan Day, no.
I don't either.
If you're a professional athlete and you're not staying in the shape you need to be in to perform at the highest level, then you're not taking it seriously. I'll tell you this, you're not taking it seriously enough. That's for damn sure. Especially if you see a guy that's playing next to you in Jalen Carter take it super serious. And that's what I'm getting to with Vic Fangio and Jalen Carter. Vic Fangio is the guy that was breaking stones of Jalen Carter for not saying good morning to him. So, like, imagine if he sets up wrong. Imagine if he doesn't break through a double team the right way. Imagine if there's an opportunity lost, how much Vic Fangio is chewing him out for that. So I think Jalen Carter has taken to it phenomenally. And on top of it, you talk about finding that motivation. He knows how to push the buttons of Jalen Carter. And when he's asked about the workload, I mean, we talk about it a lot, as we just did with Saquon Barkley. Well, on the other side of the football, it's a little bit different because he's so much younger, but it's the same type of thing. Vic Fangio was asked about Jalen Carter staying out there on the football field for as many snaps as he did and as often as he does. Can he handle it? Can he keep up that workload? And he alluded to what you just mentioned, the fountain of youth. He said, yeah, he's a young pup. He's a young pup. He's a young pup, Sills. He can handle it. So, yeah, I'm thrilled to see the progression that you saw last year from him. And then you hear guys like Jeremiah Trotter talking about how Jalen Carter doesn't even know the position yet. And he's just going out there with raw talent. Like, imagine when he learns what the hell. I mean, hey, look, that's the eye of somebody who is an NFL veteran and Jeremiah Trotter Sr. I'm talking about.
Yep.
Talking about what he's bringing to the table. And it is dominant what you have seen from him. And I don't know if you saw this or not, but CBS Sports came out with the top 25 under 25, and Jalen Carter was something like 12th,
13th.
He was 13th. Yeah. All right, go use it as fuel there, young bull. Go out there and do your thing. Because I think that's a bit of a slight.
I get Stingley and I get the uncertain. Those guys are first team all pro.
Yeah.
I mean, but I was like, how's that guy not in the top 5? I mean,
yeah, right.
I mean, he like you said, what's crazy about him is, you're right. I mean, this guy's killing people without technique. Can you imagine this league? Here's the biggest thing you can always tell a kid coming out of, I mean, Farzi, when you're a player that gets drafted in the NFL, I don't care who you are, myself included, I was never blocked in college. When you get to the NFL, you're always blocked. I mean, these guys are so freaking good because they're as strong as you, they're as big as you, and they're more wiser than you, and they got better technique than you, and they're blocking you. I'm playing against guys like Don Mosbar and Mike Munchak, and you're like, these guys are slipping and scooping. They're 590-pound benchers. You're like, holy shit, these guys are the best people on the planet. That kid's killing guys like that. When he understands how to play with leverage better, Trotter Sr. wasn't ripping him.
No,
it wasn't
a compliment. It was a compliment.
It was a compliment. I mean, yeah. I want to throw this last one at you here. So you tell me how this sounds. And I added this up here. Let me get this number here for you. All right. So Milton Williams, 629 in snaps. Josh Sweat, 775 in snaps. Darius Slay, 900 snaps. Gardner Johnson, I'm stunned. 1,119 snaps a year ago. Brandon Graham, 311. Oren Burks, 322. Isaiah Rodgers, 412. These guys here all were part of the number one defense in the NFL, not just a top Super Bowl defense. The number one defense that won a Super Bowl. That comes out to 4,200 reps with guys. Do you really tell me you think that Milton Williams, Maro Ajomo is going to play 700 snaps and be as effective? Or here, this one, you're telling me you think Jalix Hunt is going to play 775 snaps when he's never started a down in the NFL, and Keely Ringo is going to play 900 snaps at corner? Andrew Makuba, who was in Austin, or Sidney Brown is going to play 1,100 snaps? I mean, dude, are we asking a little too much of this? Because that's a lot, Farzi, to sit there and tell me guys who have never started and guys who never really had any playing time are going to cover those snaps with the effectiveness of a number one defense. You tell me if I'm overcooking it.
No, not at all. I mean, if you had a bucket of question marks, Sills, right, and you're looking at the Eagles roster and you're looking at the offensive side and the defensive side, you might throw one at the right guard spot of the Philadelphia Eagles, right? But you're like, even with that, that's Jeff Stoutland. Now kick that in the bucket. And then you turn your attention over to the defense and you go, oh, damn, question mark, question mark, question. You're just throwing them all over the place. They're sticking there like magnets, right? You're asking Jahad Campbell, you're asking Jalix Hunt, you're asking Drew Makuba, you're asking Ty Robinson, Moro Ajomo, as you mentioned. Yeah, hey, fellas, step on in. Don't have us miss a beat. I read something recently. It was on Fox Sports, and it had a word to describe each offseason for the NFL, each team for the NFL. And I thought the word for the Philadelphia Eagles was extremely optimistic. And quite frankly, it's what I'm rooting for. I'm not ready to bet on it just yet, even with Vic Fangio, but it's what I'm rooting for. The word they used to describe the Philadelphia Eagles was reloaded. Reloaded. Now, reloading is great because it's the same gun, it's the same weapon. You just put another one in and it fires as it should. But I got questions about what's in the artillery here when it comes to what is going to be thrown at the opponents coming up in this.
But Margie, isn't that code for rebuilding?
So I'll put it. I even broke that down as well. I was like, if you talk about a rebuilding team, then you're talking about, hey, we're going to suck. And there you go. When you talk about retooling, that's kind of the next step up more towards positive. Reloading means this is the same machine that's going to operate the same way with just a few different pieces. That's what that means to me. I got to see it to believe it. I got all the confidence in the world in Vic Fangio. That's fine. But you mean to tell me you're going to hit, like, all these guys are going to take over for that productive of a defense and there's not going to be a problem? Like, for me, in order for the Eagles to really not miss a beat, there's two things that I really look at. Number one, Jahad Campbell doesn't replace necessarily just a Nakobe Dean or a Josh Sweat. He replaces Hassan Reddick. That's what he replaces. Ty Robinson replaces Milton Williams. Like, these are the things that you're betting on. Drew Makuba replaces a guy who, you know what happens when he's in your defense. You go to the Super Bowl and CJGJ. So that's a tall order. Darius Slay, for problems and breakdowns in coverage, getting caught looking in the backfield, was still a very good cornerback and saved a lot, it looked like, for the postseason, for his postseason performance. And now you're going to be asking Keely Ringo to take that big step forward, which he hasn't done yet. You're also going to be looking at Cooper DeJean to potentially play on the outside in base coverage or safety. Like, you're asking a lot more of the younger guys and also a lot of your rookie class to step up and fill the voids left behind by the guys that have exited through this offseason. And some guys are kicked out. Absolutely.
Don't you agree that you could see this look like with this team this year, especially with all the things that you just mentioned? The team in the first, 10 games or 8 games could look like a 9-win team. But at the end of the year, it could look like a 13-win team, and yet you land on 11 wins. But you've gotten better. I mean, to sit there and assume that you're just going to, after you took a blowtorch to the NFL's number one defense, to sit there and assume it's going to be top 5 is awful. I mean, it is awful optimistic, in my opinion. So
I agree.
Me, I would like to see, hey, like the Chiefs a couple years ago when they beat the Chiefs or when they beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. They didn't look very good at the beginning of the year. But by the end of the year, they looked like a 14-win team. They only won 11. They won as many games in 23 as the Eagles did. But they looked like a 13-win team. Could we see something like that?
I absolutely do. And it's part of the reason why I loved the bye week in week 5 last year. Because you had look, Vic Fangio was coming in. I've said it many times. You're not going to have the cover band of the Vic Fangio defense. You're going to have the original act, the actual Vic Fangio taking over.
Right.
And if things were trending in the wrong direction, which at 2-2, it's certainly not the right direction. But if things were rearing their ugly heads from the previous year, Jalen Hurts' turnovers, yes, that was absolutely a thing. Levante David, I think it was Jair Alexander against the Packers in the end zone in Brazil. Yeah, turnovers were still a problem. Defense still didn't look good. Missed tackles still didn't look good. And that early bye week was that reset. All right, everyone, not only are we going to add Cooper to Gene, not only is he going to be ready to go coming out, but schematically, our tackling is going to be better. A younger guy like Nolan Smith is going to take a big step forward, which he did after that bye week. So that's why I love the early bye. The Eagles don't have the benefit of that. Now, what they do have is at least the luxury of a lot of these guys already playing 1 year under Vic Fangio. Even the guys that, a lot of guys are gone, obviously, but a lot of guys are still here. They really know what to expect of Vic Fangio. And these players are all talking to each other. I don't think Vic Fangio is going to catch any rookie off guard by any means. It is a concern. I could absolutely see it as a rough start to the season where they're flirting with 500, and then all of a sudden they really turn it on late in the year.
I got to sneak this in on you here, okay? I wrote these 5 teams down, not name the Eagles. Take the Eagles out of this. I wrote down Ravens, Bills, Rams, Lions, Commanders. Yes, the Chiefs are missing. I think the Chiefs, I don't know about you, but when I see that offense, I don't see, outside you take Mahomes off that offense, I don't really see. Hard to take him off the offense, but still, I just don't see a lot of weapons there. And I see a lot of holes in that old line. They got rid of the kid. He sent him up to Chicago. I don't know, man. I mean, I think they're going to take a step back. I think the Ravens adding Alexander, as you said, they got the best secondary in football now, probably, at least on paper. But I've got Ravens, Bills, Rams, Lions, Commanders. Anybody else you would sneak in there?
I think that pretty much nails it. Lions are interesting to me because I don't have a lot of respect for Jared Goff. So losing his center, I want to see how that works out.
Ragnow's huge. And they lost the right guard.
Yeah. So you find a way to speed up that clock for Jared Goff, and it could be turnover time in Detroit. So
especially with they got 2 new coordinators too, both OC and DC. So that's why I said, I don't know. I got them further down. They have a great roster, and the Bills play in the sorriest division next to the NFC South in football, the AFC. Yeah. I mean, they're going to win pretty much almost all their games this year. And the Ravens, I mean, no more excuses for the Ravens, right? I mean,
none.
It's time for them. Like, the Super Bowl should be Ravens and Eagles, in your opinion.
I think that would be a great Super Bowl. I'll admit that would be awesome. The Commanders, my question with the Commanders is, as great as Jaden Daniels was last year, it's all about the do it again. When you took everybody by storm, you got some bounces certainly go your way. You earned every inch of a blowout in the divisional round of the playoffs, and then you earned every inch in the negative aspect of it with a blowout by the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. So it's all about him going out there doing it again. What are you going to do now that teams really know how to scheme against you? Can he remain at the top? That's good, because that's what everything's hinging on. They loaded up in this offseason. Forget about reloading. They just loaded up in this offseason. Can he stay on that same level that he was at last year? With quarterbacks, it's either hit or miss. If he has back-to-back hits, good for him. But I wouldn't be shocked if the league adjusts to him, he has difficulty adjusting back, and then he levels things out to have a good NFL career. I'm not saying that it was an anomaly. I'm just saying one more year of adjusting to what the league adjusted to him for.
I'll tell you what, I also would like to see Bills and Eagles. Can you imagine those two fan bases?
I would love it.
How about those two fan bases, man? Going at it Super Bowl week. Bills Mafia and Eagle Nation going after it. Holy cow, would that you would have to, that would be WWE stuff right there, man, where you would have people coming off the top rope. All right, Farzi, what do you got planned for 4th of July next week? What's the Farzetta family do? It's a big deal for me. I love, Italians love fireworks. I know, shiny things. I'm all good. I love fireworks. So you tell me.
You're gonna love this. My cousin Ray just built a bocce court in his backyard.
No way! Oh my God!
So, and my daughter and his daughter are close. So, I'm gonna go over there for a little bit. I got my wife's family, or as I like to refer to them, Medigons. They're coming over, and we're gonna have a little party at the house. But I'm gonna go over to my cousins first. Have a little get together. roll a ball or two. You know what I mean? Throw the Polina. I'm gonna toss the Polina.
Absolutely, man. as my good friend Tony Bruno would say, bocce do bocce. Hey. Hey, you know, Tony used to have like bocce ball tournaments out in San Francisco all the time. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I mean, oh my God. Hey, did you hear they're bringing the wing bowl back?
Is that Vegas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at Farsi. He goes like this. No.
Dude,
No,
dude.
Spectrum and
Don't waste my
wing.
time.
No.
Don't waste my time. All right, don't waste my time. I bet you they're going to be weighing the wings to see how much chicken they ate. That's
my
Bush
God.
League. You
That
get your
was
judges.
so Philly.
You get your judges, okay, that are each easily tipping 350, okay? Tipping a scale at 350, and you count that. You count them wings one by one. Weighing the wings, probably how they're going to do it. You know, it ain't wing bowl. And here's the thing, the logo, if that's the logo they're using, that's Bush League, because that's just a ripoff of the event I helped throw for 13 years. Thank you very much.
Farsi, that is great. I bet I went to 2 of them at the Spectrum.
Yeah.
I mean, it was carnage. And I go, this is the greatest freaking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Between the dancers, I was going to say strippers, but I don't know if there was any difference. I'm going to say between that and the food and the fun that you guys put on, bro, that thing was one of the greatest. I talk about that with people that don't know what the wing bowl. I go, have you ever seen the wing? It's the greatest promotion in the history. And I saw that that logo, and I went, I got it. Farzetta goes, Vegas? No.
Please,
that's not the wing bowl.
Stop it. I'll say to my 2 favorite things ever said about Wing Bowl. One was a college writer, a college kid went to Wing Bowl and described it as, the quote was along the lines of, in a society that is growing ever closer to political correctness, Wing Bowl serves as the giant middle finger to that movement. And I just went, beautiful, chef's kiss. And then the second thing is, anytime I heard a wing, like I had to recruit the wingettes, you know, the girls that would actually serve the wings.
Yes.
So a lot of them, yes, were strippers. And then a lot of them were also like, another half of them were like girls next door that just wanted to do something crazy and wild one time in their life. And this was it. And, the phrase that always made me laugh really hard is, yeah, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to bring class to the wing bowl. And I'd be like,
well, then you're not tired.
Yeah, good. No, I would say good luck. Good luck. Hey, good for you. Good for you. You'll be the pioneer of class to wing bowl. But yeah, those are my favorite times of year.
I'm keeping you too long here, but I gotta give you one last one. So I used to be the judge, or one of the judges for the Raiderettes.
Oh, okay.
And you know the chick that's on Fox, Emily Capallo?
Oh, yeah.
They're really good looking. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that we had picked her because she was a Raiderette. And I'm watching her. She brings it up, and I'm like, holy cow. Yep. She was in it. I was like, yeah. So it's always good to see you have a Fox analyst talking about tariffs. And I'm sitting here going like this. Well, I'm glad that I elevated the conversation on Fox by picking a Raiderette who's now talking tariffs.
She owes her whole career to you. That's what she doesn't even realize yet.
Farsi, have a great 4th of July, and thank you so much for all your time, man. I really appreciate it.
Same to you and yours, my friend, and to all your listeners and viewers. I'll see you soon.
You got it. Great Mark Farzetta. We appreciate him always. Make sure you check his show out, too. Very good stuff, Mark Farzetta, man. He starts out our broadcast right here on JAKIB Sports. We thank him very much. All right, don't forget our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. Folks, these guys have been with us now, God, for over 25 years. I mean, my radio career and my JAKIB career, my streaming career, which I love right now, we have Morgan & Morgan with us. Why not? I've known John for over 25 years. It's the number 1 injury law firm in America for a reason. Why? Because they win. That's right. Thousands of attorneys from coast to coast defending families to make sure they get the proper return when it comes to lawsuits. Like, insurance companies will try to underbite you all the time. I told you about the family in Pennsylvania here, where, again, they were initially offered $650K. They ended up getting nearly $25 million in settlement. Family down in Florida was initially offered $300,000. they ended up coming back with $12 million. If you're ever injured, go to forthepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. That's FOR, thepeople.com/big sales or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sales sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Hit the like button, guys. Big Sills here on a Friday. God, when we get back next week, we are going to be so close to the start of training camp. The Chargers will be, right now, the Chargers are what? I think they're 15 days out. They're 15 days out. So over the weekend, I mean, we're going to be like almost 10 days out from the start of the NFL season where teams are going to show up to training camp. This is crazy. Oh, before I get to Fletcher Cox and Dallas Goedert, I want to throw this at you guys. So have you guys been watching this Diddy case? I think next week, around 4th of July, probably they're going to come to a verdict in that case. I'll get where it's going sports-wise here in a second. Have you guys been watching this Diddy case? You know, this guy being accused of sex trafficking and what have you, and all this other BS. Again, I'm not going to go into the weeds on this shit, but I mean, have you been watching this case with Diddy? Okay, he's going to be let free. You think, Brian? Some people think he may. Okay, here's what I say to you. Doesn't Jay-Z own the Commanders too? Well, let me go here with you, Abe. I know this about Jay-Z. Jay-Z's head of the NFL halftime entertainment. And it's now being talked about that Jay-Z is going to be the halftime entertainment at Super Bowl 60. Dude, have you not been watching the case, NFL? This guy's involved in all that shit that's going on with him. How is the NFL involved with that guy? How are they involved with him? You know, they want to suspend Justin Tucker for 10 games for being a freak show with these massage parlor chicks. Then you're telling me you're in business with Jay-Z. And Jay-Z runs the halftime entertainment for the NFL throughout the year, even in Philly. How are you fucking doing business with that guy? You know what the NFL's response is? I asked them. We're monitoring it. What are you monitoring? Jay-Z, Beyonce, a whole bunch of the people, they're plastered all over those pictures at his place, taking advantage of underage children. And the NFL's blowing it off like it's nothing. And you want to try to tell me you give a shit about Justin Tucker? The guy's a freak show. How in the world do you not look at that and go, we need to break our ties from Jay-Z? That's right, Kyle. These people are picking and choosing who to go after. You go after Justin Tucker because it's low-hanging fruit and because people will go, hey, it's better to kick the shit out of a player than it is to kick the shit out of an owner or a person that you do business with. I mean, wow. Don't ever believe these people. The NFL, again, they're so not, they'll sit there and like I opened the show. I'll do it again here. So Justin Tucker gets 10 games for the same shit that Deshaun Watson did, right? Deshaun Watson gets a $230 million raise and the only guaranteed contract in history for the same shit, and you're going to suspend Justin Tucker for it. I'm not understanding that. How can you sit there and sell that to people that you care what the difference in right and wrong is? How can you sell that? You can't sell that because you're hypocrites. We know this already. Again, I think maybe I wish I got 5 minutes of my life back for just talking like that because, I mean, for sure, man. I mean, that shit falls on deaf ears. Seals off the record. Does anybody else notice everybody campaigning for Harris had ties with P. Diddy? Well, supposedly, half that money that was donated, and that's why John Morgan pulled his money, went to people who were showing up, and they were paying people like Beyonce and others to show up at political events, which is highly illegal. And where did the $3 billion go that they raised? All of that money's gone, and they owe money. Somebody made out being paid that money. They were paid appearances for like Beyonce and all these other entertainers. By the way, one thing that election showed us, nobody gives a shit what I say. Nobody gives a shit what Beyonce says. The same way. They called in Oprah. They called in all these other people. Nobody cares what you think. If nobody gives a shit what Oprah thinks, Why would they care what I think? Right? Nobody cared. How many celebrities were out politicianing for Kamala Harris? Hundreds. Robert De Niro, all these guys. America laughed at them. I mean, that's self-absorbed importance that you think you have. Like, I am I've told you this. My wife always says this to me. Hey, dude, try not to talk too much politics. You know why? They barely give a shit what your sports takes are. Nobody gives a shit what your political takes are. She's dead on the nail. Nobody gives a shit. Okay? I mean, but if you're an actor, again, if you're an actor or you're a politician, you think your word's gospel. And it's not. You have as much influence over someone else as I do. Because I would say this, most people are pretty smart and going to say this to you. Hey, screw you. I'm going to make my own opinion on who I'm going to vote for and who I'm not. Okay? You know what? I used to get these text messages all the time. I'm not going to tell you. Okay? Jay-Z's guilty by association. Then, as I remember, your president's picks with Epstein. Absolutely. Absolutely. My president. Still an asshole with that, but hey, she's right. Dude, you're guilty as associate. I'm doing a show in Tampa. This Wander Franco kid had sex with a 14-year-old chick. And get this, he was found guilty. The mother got 10 years for trafficking her. 10 years. Franco got 2, and it was like commuted, where time served. He doesn't have to serve any time. Okay? I mean, decisions people make, the associations you make in life. If I were Cooper DeJean, I'd be careful who I'm hanging with when I go to these parties. Because one bad decision, that's why when Xander was saying that earlier, the Eagles must put their hand over their eyes, because you know why? Bro, he may be having a great time, Cooper DeJean. And I'm not saying a 22-year-old kid should not be having a good time. And I get it. Super Bowl champion, the whole 9 yards. All of that. He's having a fabulous life. More power to him. But, dude, one bad mistake, you could find yourself in the same position that Deshaun Watson or Justin Tucker are in. Let me ask you something here, if you're one of those guys. Why in the world do you get this? And my wife's right. You're guilty by association. Why in the world would I not have my old lady rub me down, or a professional guy who is a massage therapist rub me down so there's no question in what I'm doing in my rehab? You really, it's like the catfish thing my old lady showed me years ago. I used to think people were texting me and sending me all kinds of great shit. Oh, look at this. My wife looked over my shoulder. She goes, "You don't really think that's a real human, do you?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "Yeah, that's it. A 22-year-old guy wants a fat 58-year-old guy." And I go, "What are you saying?" She goes, "That's a fat 58-year-old guy in his basement with his mom's undies on." I'm like, holy cow. I block every one of them guys. Every one of those pictures. I block them all now. I do. Because I don't know. It could be enemies of mine that are trying to get me to send Brett Favre pictures. Look at Brett Favre. I mean, the girl he did that with is a friend of mine. I played football with her father. Brett Favre sending dick pictures. He's sending pictures of his cannoli with his Super Bowl ring with his name on it. I mean, I don't know about you. I know I'm not the smartest guy, but I know better not to do that. Hey, whose picture's that? I don't know. The name on the ring says Favre. I mean, shit. Hey, I don't know. Maybe that's Russian misinformation. I don't know. Holy cow. Right? So if you're Cooper DeJean, I'd hang in there a bit. I'd be careful a little bit there. Jay-Z, he's guilty by association because he's hanging out with that scumbag. Hey, and I'm going to say one more thing here, too. This is just my opinion. Isn't it funny? I mean, once they got Biggie out of his life, his career shot up. Did it not? Once Tupac and Biggie were gone, I don't know. That guy's career took off. You know, I'm not saying anything here, but I'm like, man, once Chris Wallace died and once Tupac died, I mean, what happened to that guy's career? He turned into this big mogul once those dudes were off the face of the planet. Just saying. I don't know. You know, there's always been a conspiracy that Suge did it. I don't believe that. I told you the story of Suge. I mean, I've met the guy and I've played football against Suge. My wife and I used to go and do a radio show with the guy who named him Suge Knight. He was the head football coach of the UNLV Rebels. And he's the one that named him Sugar Bear. And Suge showed up. He was a bodyguard. My friend Ron Futrell, who helped get me into broadcasting, he'd show up in Vegas all the time. Harvey Hyde is his name. And Harvey used to do a show with Ron, and then I started doing it with those guys, and Suge would show up. He wasn't running Death Row Records yet. He was just a bodyguard guy who had played at UNLV. Actually, he played with Randall Cunningham. That's crazy. I didn't have a run-in with and when he was with the Raiders, no, the Rams. I played against him when he was with the Rams. You know who was else on that team? Leon White. Does anybody know who Leon White is? Leon White and Suge Knight were on that team when I played against the Rams. Do you know who Leon White is? Anybody? It's crazy. In my life, I've met all these crazy people. Mr. International, does anybody know who Leon White is? Brian doesn't know. Leon White. There he is, Kyle. He was Big Van Vader. He was Vader. Leon White is Vader. And Vader, when I wrestled in WCW, his real name is Leon White. And he was an all Big 8 offensive lineman back in the day with Colorado. And then he went on, he played a couple years with the Rams. I played against him. Yeah. Yeah, Brian. I know. No shit. Yeah, he was a good football player. All conference. The old Big 8. You guys remember the old Big 8? And dude, he was one big dude. Absolutely. Big Van Vader's a gigantic guy. I saw him in Europe and I saw him in Atlanta. All right. Oh, one other thing. Before we get to Fletcher Cox, I'll explain. And before we get to Dallas Goedert. So this Ace Bailey guy, what was the story? He didn't want to play in Philly. And he was like missing meetings. And he didn't want to like interview with anybody because he wanted to like not get drafted to Philadelphia or other places. Funny, I mentioned it yesterday. The guy ended up in Utah. Dude, whatever happened just wanting to be a pro? You know, when the Bucks drafted me, I didn't give a shit where the Bucks who drafted me. I just cared that I got drafted and became an NFL player. One of the very few people that have ever been drafted in the world, I got drafted. And I didn't care it was the Bucks. I could have cared less if it was anywhere. I didn't care. I was so grateful to be drafted. You know, getting that call and having a professional football team call you and say, Dan, hey, this is Ray Perkins. We've drafted you, the 56th player taken in the draft. And I sat there and I was like, wow. And I did. I said, wow. I go, thank you, coach. I really appreciate it, especially all the shit that's been going on. He goes, well, I want to turn it over to Mr. Culverhouse, and we're going to fly you up. It's the only time I've ever been on a private jet. I've never been on a private jet except for that. It was from Miami to Tampa. And we're going to fly you up. And I remember I didn't even get a chance to call my folks yet until I got to Tampa. And I got on the airplane. There I was. It was about a 25-minute flight. Landed in Tampa. A whole bunch of people waiting for me. I got off. I said, I got to call my grandfather. I got to call my grandpa. So I called my grandpa and I told him, I go, you're not going to believe this. I just got drafted. He's like, what? I said, yeah, the Bucks just drafted me. He goes, how high? I go, well, today it's second round. He's like, second round? 56 player today is the second round. It's middle of the second round. I still had a year eligibility. And he goes, yeah, I'm going in to talk now. And we're going to go talk contracts and we're going to try to get this thing done. And so he goes, you got an attorney with you? I go, yeah. So I had Randy Fataha with me, a guy from Bob Wolf's office. And they drove us around. They took us down to the El Sombrero where the Bucks played. The facility sucked. But that's all right. Then we went to a hotel. And then we went to like Hugh Culverhouse's office. And we sat there and we ironed a contract out. You know what they did? What was really cool? They pulled out Jerome Brown's contract. A 3-year, $3.1 million contract. They pulled out. It was 3 years, $3.1 million. And I go, okay. And then they said this, we're going to offer you 2.9. And my attorney looked over at me. He goes, well, if you take that contract, that would be the equivalent of being the 11th pick in the draft. My contract was the 11th pick in the draft. And so I looked at it. I think it was the 11th or 14th pick. I can't remember. But it was like the 11th or 14th pick. And what my contract would have been. So I looked down at it and I was like, okay. We went back. We had dinner, me and Randy. The next day, we walked in the office and we signed the contract. And I got a $650,000 bonus, a signing bonus. Well, it was crazy. And this kid, Ace Bailey, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just I remember calling my folks and I remember calling them my friends. By the way, I called one of my friends who just passed away a couple of days ago. I'm like, Jim, he goes, I heard. It's all over the news. I posted a cool picture. I think I did. And then get this, because it was supplemental like Reggie was. Here, let me show you this. This is pretty cool. I posted this picture because, again, I'm doing a radio show down in Tampa. By the way, this is my favorite. Okay, just so you know. So look, I posted this. So, well, you could see that picture back there on the wall. See that? You see that picture right there? That's my first day as a NFL player. Here, let me show you this. There's the front page of the Tampa Tribune. Sileo, a buck the NFL way. That's the same picture. My Uncle Richard took that cup out of that picture because he hated it. My Uncle Richard made that picture for me. Sileo, a buck the NFL way. See that? And that's the picture. Yeah, that's the first day. And so I was thinking this guy, Ace Bailey. I don't know about you, man. I was just glad to be a professional football player. I really was. I was just glad to be in the league. Imagine you playing in front of Dick Bucks and would have been a menace. You know what I wish I had done? Because it was the supplemental draft. Chris Carter was in that draft. You know what? Get this. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Green Bay Packers, the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Giants, the 49ers, the Seahawks, all had contacted me. And the Bucks had a deal on the table. It was so illegal. And the Bucks had a deal on the table. They had reached out early to me because there was this big going back and forth whether I was a free. That's why that article says Sileo, a buck the NFL way. Well, I had originally signed a free agent contract. And the NFL came in and went, no, he's not a free agent. Yeah, I forgot to put that into the story. We thought we were a free agent because I was supposed to, because I got declared ineligible. I was supposed to be in the 1980s. I was supposed to be in the 87 draft. And nobody drafted me. Well, I was still at Miami. We thought I had another year of eligibility. Okay? We thought we had another year of eligibility. We didn't. NCAA ruled against me. So we thought, well, he's a free agent. The NFL went, no. I had to go to Pete Rozelle's office. I had to go to his office before the supplemental draft. And he told me, you're not a free agent. You're going to go in the supplemental draft. And I'm like, I wanted to go to the Bucks. I wanted to stay in Florida. And I should have went around and I should have went and talked to these teams because I probably would have went to a better situation. I thought for sure. Okay. I mean, I did. I agree with you, Kyle. Thank you, Kyle, so much. Well, here's how the supplemental works. If you get drafted and they take you in 1987, that draft pick counts towards the 1988 year or the following year. You lose that draft pick. So if you ever Google it, it'll say third pick used, the third round pick of the Bucks used for Sileo supplemental 87. So they lost their third round pick, the 56th player taken. They lost that pick the following draft. And again, back then they didn't have Carolina. They didn't have Jacksonville, and so there was I think there was only 28 teams back then. So I can't remember. I think there was 28, 29 teams or 30 teams. I don't remember how many teams there were, but I know that there were 3 teams not there. And so that's why I would have went in the second round. High in the second round. Have been one of the towards the top of the second round. And so they went, you're not a free agent. And I was like, shit, because they were going to give me more money. And so they go, no way, you're not a free agent. And all the teams started bitching. Bucks can't grab him. And so then I had to go in a supplemental, and the Bucks took me. The reason why they took, Bosworth went number 1, and I went 3 in the third round, and Chris went, I think, in the 4th round. Chris Carter. And yeah, so us three guys were in that one supplemental draft. I just saw in the NFL that the NFL is not having a supplemental draft this year. So, all right. Yeah, this guy, Ace Bailey. I mean, dude, man, today's athletes changed. You know? Hey, I want to go here. Hey, I want to go there. Hey, I'm like, man, I just wanted to get drafted. It was a privilege to play in the NFL. I've told you guys this story before. There's only been 26,000 men that have ever been drafted in pro football's 106 years. I'm one of them. I mean, 106 years. And think about this. Like, well, since the 30s, what is that? 90 drafts, 91 drafts. Since 1937, the draft was instituted. So I should probably go there, not 106. But the draft started in 1936. So like in 90 years, there's been 26,000 players drafted. I'm one of them. 28 teams? In 87, Kyle, there were 28 teams. That sounds right. Get this, Kyle. There were 28 teams, and they only have 45 guys active. You only had a 45-man roster. Today, you have 71 guys make a team. 57 active on Sundays. Good. I think it's great. More opportunities for guys, more jobs. I think it's fantastic. But when I played, it was 45 roster. And you didn't have practice squad. You didn't have anything. You had IR. Guys tried to hide people on that. But, yeah, I mean, there was no – yeah, you didn't have 71 guys. I think it's 20 practice squad, and it's 57. Shit, I'm wrong. It's 77 guys make it. 77 guys make a football team today. Shit, back then, I'd have played 100 years if you had that rule. 77 guys? Holy cow. Think of all the good players, too, man. It ended up 77 dudes make an NFL team today. Wow. 50, what is it, 53 on Sundays and 57 total that you have? Man. Seals, that's why I say as far as talent goes, being drafted in the first round is the same as the second to me. All it means is you weren't the first 32 people picked. And most of that time, Ben, my best friend over, it's more the need, especially at the top of the draft. I mean, and plus you get those shitty quarterbacks going. So you don't really get the best players going in the draft. You get, I mean, if you get a C-plus quarterback in any draft, he's going in the first round. You know what I'm saying? Dude, I mean, Jackson Dart is probably a B prospect, but he went in the first round. They traded into the first round to get him, the Giants. I mean, you don't, that's why that position is crazy and it screws the drafts up. And it helps the teams at the lower end of the draft, like the Eagles, because then the Eagles get to pick, again, a little bit more really good players, like they get Jahad Campbell. Yeah, I disagree with folks here when it comes to Jackson Dart. I'm playing that kid. All right. I heard Xander say something today. And I'm going to throw this guy at you guys. You think Jalen Carter's going to be better than Fletcher Cox? You guys believe that he'll be better than Fletcher Cox? Will Jalen Carter be better than Fletcher Cox? Jordan Davis isn't. He's not. I'm not answering that idiot. He's already better. How many people believe that Jalen Carter, this fucking idiot here, he's an idiot all day. I appreciate his algorithm, though. Thank you, dude. From now on, master idiot. How many people believe that Jalen Carter's a better ball player than Fletcher Cox right now? They follow the line of master idiot. No way. No way. And Fletcher Cox was a superstar. Dude, there are very few men that have played the position of defensive tackle as good as Fletcher Cox has. Okay? There's very few players. Come on now, honey. You don't mean that. I know, lover. It's okay. It's okay, sweetheart. Hey, it's okay, honey. You don't need to use harsh language with Big Sills. It's okay. Cam Hayward is a good comparison. He is. That's a good comparison. Cam's a Hall of Fame player. He's gonna knock on the door. Hall of Fame. Okay? He's totally. But to sit there and say that Jalen Carter's going to be better than Fletcher Cox, you know what that means? Wake me up in 5-6 years before you can sit there and tell me that. 1 year doesn't make a career. Does he have potential? No doubt. No doubt. No question. He has a ton of potential to be a superstar ball player. To be better than Fletcher? Let me see something here with Fletcher Cox. Okay. So when you talk like Master Idiot or Masturbator, whatever his name is, and you look at Fletcher Cox's career, Master Debater believes that he's a better ball player now than Fletcher Cox. I think Fletcher Cox, if Adama Sue, if he knocks on the door, Fletcher's got to be right there too. So let's take a look at him. Here's Fletcher Cox. Pro Bowl, Pro Bowl, Pro Bowl, Pro Bowl, Pro Bowl, Pro Bowl, Pro Bowl. Wow. First team AP. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times Pro Bowler. Check out his sacks. 9, 7.5, 6.5, 10.5, 4.5, 6.5, 7. Man, this guy's got 70 sacks in 12 years. From a defensive tackle position, from an inside tackle position. 1 year he had 50 solo tackles, 71 tackles, 61 tackles, 50 tackles. That's a great career. He had 10.5 sacks from a defensive tackle position in 2018. From this time frame, from 2015 to 2020, maybe 21 or 22. From 2016 to 2022, the only tackle in the game, potentially better, was Sue and Donald. Both those guys, one of them is a surefire Hall of Famer. And Adama Sue is going to knock on the door of being a Hall of Fame player. Okay? Let me see Dominic Sue. So again, the question mark is Jalen Carter going to be better than him? That's quite a statement. Fletcher's the best defensive tackle you've ever had. And the only reason I say that with respect to my friend Jerome Brown is that JB didn't play long enough. Yeah, listen to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fletcher's got more Pro Bowlers. Now, Sue was AP his first year, Defensive Player of the Year, rookie his first year. He had 10 sacks his first year, and he never had double digits ever again. His best years were clearly in Detroit. And after that, I mean, in Tampa, he had 6 sacks. I didn't realize that in 21. And he has 71 and a half. Well, let me put it to you this way. Fletcher Cox has got a Super Bowl ring, as does Fletcher and Sue. They both do. But Fletcher Cox and Adama Sue are the same. I didn't think that. I really didn't. I didn't think that for the longest time. And, Jalen Carter better than him? How can you say the better than him when this guy has put a resume together that's Hall of Fame? Jalen Carter hasn't put shit together yet. I see a lot of great potential. But Fletcher Cox potential? Like, Fletcher Cox's best year and his rookie year, Fletcher Cox had a better rookie year than Jalen Carter did. Let's see what he had in his rookie year. He had 5.5 sacks and 40 tackles in his first year. He was a better ball player in his rookie season. I mean, he hasn't gotten out to a better start. The team is better. I'm sorry? Do a season-by-season comparison. And tell who's better, Sil. Stop comparing full-ass careers to guys just in... Bro, that would mean that the players that he played with and the team that Carter's on now, Carter was on the number 1 defensive football team a year ago. I don't remember ever Fletcher Cox being on the number 1 defensive football team. That's bullshit. This guy's a fucking dummy. He has no idea what he's talking about. He had a better rookie year, did he not? With Carter on the team, the defense fell to pieces, did it not? Fletcher was in his 14th year. Who had a better rookie year, Fletcher Cox or Jalen Carter? Who had a better rookie year? Who had really? You think? Let's take a look at that real quick here. And he's on a better team, by the way. And by the way, a defensive football team that gave up 145 yards a game at the end of the year. Okay? See this right here? You know why he didn't win Rookie of the Year, his rookie year? Because he fell off the planet. Everyone knows. And that kid from, where was it? The kid from Seattle? Or the kid from the kid from Seattle? Or the kid from Seattle won Rookie of the Year. Why? Because Carter... That's why. And he fell off the planet. He was a runaway Rookie of the Year. But what happened? That defense fell apart, and he was out of shape. Nice try, kid. All right. Our great friends at Morgan & Morgan. Folks, without a doubt, do me a favor. Make sure you check out the #1 injury law firm in all of America by going to forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. That's forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529 to do me a favor. You tell him Big Sil sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
And I can't wait till next week, 4th of July. One of my favorites. Fireworks, burgers, beers. Right? I cannot wait. And it's one of my favorite. It's just one of my favorite holidays because you get to hang out with your family and all that. And in my house, it was awesome. We loved Memorial Day. We loved Thanksgiving. We loved Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. But 4th of July, my uncle used to do so many great. We'd fly kites. He would always get like these fireworks. We would fire them off in our backyard. It was so much fun, man. I mean, growing up, I'll tell you this one more time. I would never in a million years ever want to be raised by anybody else or anywhere else than where I was with my family. I mean, wasn't perfect, but I'll tell you what, for me, it was. It was just absolutely the greatest growing up with my folks. I mean, I didn't grow up with a mom and dad, but you know what I did? I grew up with loved family members, and it was the best. And that's what this reminds me of so much. You know, I mean, I like 4th of July to me is just all of that. And it just brings such great memories. And I hope everyone has a great weekend. Next week, man, we're counting down. We need a countdown clock because we're right around the corner. Have a great weekend. Thank you for everybody coming aboard this week. We appreciate you guys so much here. Thank you again. We will see you next week. Joe, Xander, thank you. 2 to 6 on Monday. We'll see you on the flip side.